right, everybody. Hit that like. About to go. There is literally no way I'll be able to get to everything today. Hit the like, share the show. Be up in a minute. All right, welcome to the show, everybody. You guys are awesome. It's so good to be here with the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. It's me, it's Hal Sparks. It's the greatest chat room in the history of chat rooms. Share the show, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. It's a big one today, big show today. I don't know if I'll be able to fit any of what I want to talk about in. I feel like every clip that is in front of me is so jam-packed with obfuscations and illiterate ramblings that just getting through pieces of it, I mean, I could just dissect nearly every word for hours. It's wackadoodle. Some of it, I gotta say, like, I don't even know if I need to go. Hold on, let me pull one thing up. Yeah, this is it. Hold on. Shut up. Okay. Fuck, there's so much stuff today, guys. Not the least of which, and we will get to it, might be the first order of business, is forget the wedding of Taylor and Travis. Forget that. The breakup of Alex and Owen. It's tearing us all to pieces. Hold on. I feel like there's a cat emergency. Everything okay? Okay. I feel like there was a cat on probably a banister. It's going on, just checking. All right, secondly, Vinny comes to yet another in a series of completely impotent yet obvious realizations. In Stop Calling It a Hoax. Nope, sorry, asshole. In for a penny, in for a pound. Trump also rebranded the Department of Defense, which is obviously gay and trans and too happy and elite and foreign or something, and decided that as the peace president, what he should do is call it the Department of War. We'll get to that dipshittery in a minute in this, basically an argument between him and Pete Hegseth about who's compensating for dick size the most. Then, of course, there was the whisper that heard round the world where Zuckerberg made up a fucking number out of nowhere and splurted it into Trump's ear, just like Melania was doing with questions he did not hear at this gathering. By the way, there's Bill Gates. I may dip into something that might even be a surprise to our dear friend CSL in a clip that I was just catching before the show started. That might be a new vein to mine of absolute Roseanne-level dipshittery. Not Roseanne herself. Oh, no, there's a new sheriff in town in the way too much weed in way too delicate a system and way too much money and way too much free time, resulting in paranoid fantasies born out of Twitter feeds. We'll get to that in a minute. But Ron Paul, or as who was calling him Dr. Ron Paul the other day, who was kissing his ass. That on one of the fucking shows, they all blend together. It's like this. I feel like I'm fighting this kind of like dipshit mind Borg that all says effectively the same thing in a cascade of dumber and dumber ways. But they've not only does Ron Paul on the Ron Paul Liberty Report have a warning that stagflation has arrived, unemployment and inflation are rising together. Yeah, no shit, that was the plan, dummy. They want to crash the economy because it's built for elites and the rest of you guys can fuck off, is the message from the White House and Don Jr. And this is an AI graphic. This is something, when you ask Claude or ChatGPT for a generic thing, it will always come up with shit that looks like this. It is almost an accent that they have in their design, that it will look like this. It will look like the absolute, like the most neutered, safest possible elements of clip art slapped together. No harm, no foul, because there's so many governors put on the image generation so that it doesn't add tits to something, that it all looks like this. I'm not kidding. Okay, then, like I said, we'll never get through all of this. Fuck her. That's all. Look at that word. Fuck off. Megyn Kelly's just fucking, whatever. Glenn Beck. I'm not even going to tell you what this one's about. Just, yeah, all right. Also, it was pointed out to me, there's a documentary about John Kennedy coming out called I Like Me. And John's daughter worked with us on Lab Rats. She is a wonderful human being. And her father, like, she went on and on what a wonderful man he was. I was a huge fan. I felt like he brought the earth to high comedy. He gave it gravity where it had none. And his monologue in Splash, I'll put up against any Oscar winner. And it's you could argue that whole monologue in Splash is the root of why Planes, Trains, and Automobiles became the movie it was, instead of just a wacky comedy, something with genuine worth. So there you go. Not that wacky comedies don't have genuine worth, because they absolutely do, but in a different category. Okay, then. I'm not going to do two Glens today. There's no way. But here's why Trump obliterated that Venezuelan cartel boat. Well, you don't fucking know, because you don't know for a fact it was a cartel boat. You don't know who the fucking people were. You don't know what they had on the fucking boat. All you know is a civilian boat was blown up in the waters off Venezuela, in international waters, by our guys, with no legal reason other than they didn't stop when hailed, which is international waters. They don't fucking have to. You're not the goddamn Coast Guard. And then, of course, in an ever-flailing attempt to claw back relevance amongst the maggot faithful, Ben Shapiro has decided that Democrats are unveiling woke 2.0. When in doubt, go back to the political correctness. And then, of course, the reality of MAGA right now, the message of MAGA, no matter whether they like it or not, is they're all drinking at the trough of Nick Fuentes in his mom's basement in Chicago. The weird little gay kid, incel virgin, like pathological truth teller on the right about Donald Trump right now, because of the Epstein files, has been unleashed. He got kicked off of YouTube, but there are dozens, and largely black, by the way, dozens of black channels on the irony on YouTube that are playing his clips and giving his message air because of that rift, that flip that is happening that I talked about with Boston Brian this morning. So much to cover today. Like I said, we won't even be able to get into it, but I want to grab one thing before we start. Now, remember when I was talking about how Trump sells common sense, when in reality it is simply a common misconception that he has. And hold on, let me back this up, and I'll reload it. Hopefully come on thumbnail. No, All right, it's just going to freeze in place. Whatever. All right, we'll bring it to here. So I'm gonna go right to Alex Jones after this, but I want to show you a little piece of this. There is an industry. You know how like everything cool, like punk rock, eventually gets gentrified and watered down so that more people can enjoy it as a commodity. Okay? That's what's happened with conspiracy theories. Infotainment, it has become, well, my show's called Infotainment Wars for a reason. Infotainment has became a branding word that I fucking hate, by the way. It's like the word informational is a made-up word. Either something is informative or it isn't. Informational means I'm giving you technically what is information, but it's not true. Informational means it doesn't have to be verified or factual, because that would be informative. Whether you like a product or not, the ingredients, like telling you what's in it, is being informative. Whether you need that information, who gives a shit? But hearing it is technically informative. If it's informational, it means I'm telling you the good parts are the parts I want to sell you, and the bad parts I leave out because I'm trying to push this thing. So informational, anytime somebody goes, it was very informational, fucking run. Don't ever think of that as actual information. It is one of the worst twists. It's like chocolatey on food. They put chocolatey because they can't actually say it's got chocolate in it, right? If it was chocolate, they would say chocolate. But they say chocolatey, meaning it's been flavored to seem like chocolate. There's another one of those, which is natural strawberry flavoring. We've talked about this before. But one of the ways we get, quote, natural strawberry flavoring, you'd think that's obviously from strawberries, right? No. It is something natural that occurs that tastes or smells or makes you think it tastes or smells chemically like strawberries, namely beetle husks. There are certain beetle husks that if you burn them, they smell like strawberries when they're burning. So they managed to find a way to capture that and turn it into natural strawberry flavoring. So you're eating beetle husk powder, right? Okay, so that's still, though, natural strawberry flavoring. It's not natural strawberries, or just say strawberry flavoring. Right? It would be flavored from strawberries or essence of strawberry or some shit like that. They would if it really had strawberries in it, that's what they would say. Natural fruit, like even natural fruit flavors is another way around that, right? Oh man. Okay. So that's like the problem with the word organic. Like, fuck, man. Nuclear power is organic because humans are animals and we made it. The fuck? Why is that any different than honey from a bee's ass, right? So, yeah, chocolatey chip cookies, right? There you go. So, anyways, that's it. Okay. So, one of the people that was at this meeting that Trump had with all these billionaires, where he went deaf for a minute and Melania had to translate, from English to Slovenian or something into his ear, was the fact that Bill Gates was there. And Bill Gates is all over the Epstein list. His wife allegedly divorced him because of his blindness to what Epstein was, or his actual participation. We don't know. And by the way, as an old school Mac user for a very long time, regardless of the bailout money that was thrown their way during the Gil Amelio period for Macs, where they were really hurting after Jobs had left and before he came back and Gil Amelio was running the company, and they were about to go under, and Microsoft invested a bunch of money into Apple, basically gave them an infusion, largely because Apple was their R&D team for creating Windows. They just basically stole everything. Don't believe me? Go review the whole Netscape storyline, where they were Internet Explorer was muscling out Netscape as a browser, and they did it fucking on purpose. They were, it was one of the first real true antitrust things that was done. It was like Internet Explorer was a shit browser overall. But they would insist on it being installed on every computer, so nobody could get a browser. It was to remove it was a big deal, right? So, did Apple prop up Xerox? Sort of. There were glass manufacturing and technological stuff that led to cameras and the glass that's on your phone and all that shit that came from Xerox. And so they bought a lot of it at a time when Xerox was on the downslope, and they were one of their primary customers because photocopying was going to shit. And then it came back. And like it sort of Kinko's almost revived it, and now they went into the printer business, and most people have Xerox technology in their printer. So whether they have a Xerox printer or not. And they get a license from that and those kind of things. But anyways, all right. So, yeah, you remember Netscape? Ron? Yeah, we loved fucking Netscape. All right. So, anyways, so I'm no fan of Bill Gates is my point. Not because he's he drinks baby spine juice or some shit like that, but because his business practices have always been kind of fucked. And it's one of the reasons he's giving away a lot of his money is sort of make up for that image as one of the first tech robber barons, and putting the robber in robber baron. That he bought what was MS-DOS, which was QDOS, quick and dirty operating system, and sold it out from under the guy. Like, he bought it for $50 off some dude, and then sold it as and decided we're not going to be, we're going to be the operating system. We're going to be the brains of every computer, and that was what he was trying to muscle everybody else out. While Apple was actually making real physical shit, Microsoft is going to literally named after software. They were going to just drive the software that ran your computer. And by doing that, something like 80% of the computers on the fucking planet run Microsoft software to run everything else. So even other software companies need them to survive. So you could, if they got wind that you were trying to, I don't know, build up your software, they could undercut you or buy you out or help one of your competitors get a leg up. So you really had to, tap dance around them. Okay. So, and they used it specifically. It wasn't that like, hey man, we're just the biggest game in town and we're always innovating. And, if you can't keep up, that's your ass, which was sort of Apple's way of doing things. They actively shut down their competitors, bought up, like game developers, bought up the companies, and then shelved the products, and then fired all the guys that were working there because they weren't going to have a game developer system on these particular games themselves. And all these guys had signed like non-competition clauses, so they basically went broke. It was fucked up. Anyways, so Bill Gates, not a nice guy. But here it is. So this is Jim Breuer. You guys remember Jim Breuer, Goat Boy and all that shit? Okay. Jim went, I guess, Christian and clean at one point. I don't know what the crossover was, he's probably during a career dip. It happens or whatever. But they've managed, because of the SNL stuff and because of the movies he's been in, to kind of like ride on that hump for a long time. And you can tell, very nice house that they live in / rent or wherever the fuck they do this, in his basement with his buddies who he's literally like financing his entourage with this show, it seems. So, and he's got props, and instead of doing a tour because ticket sales and COVID and all kinds of other stuff, he's just doing his shows sort of straight out of his basement. No harm, no foul, whatever. Well, you'll see. This is basically like a lot of people looked at Alex Jones and what he was doing as his empire collapsed and went, I'm going to be, in the case of Rusty Trombone, I'm going to be the hippie Alex Jones. And in the case of Tucker Carlson, he's going to be the dweeb Alex Jones. And they're carving off all these micro-branded audiences in this. And I think Breuer, it seems like he looked at what Roseanne was doing and the money she was bringing in and her fancy pants house in Hawaii and all that stuff, and went, this is where the money is. Get online and start blathering, right? And his channel's got about half the subscribers mine does. And I don't know if he's doing ads yet or whatever, but he's proto-financing this whole thing on its back to give it an artificial bump. So they're dumping money into SEO, no doubt, and doing the kind of like, they're building it as a structured thing. And basically what it started as him just on a micro order. Now it's kind of his own little mini Rogan thing. And he walks around carrying his mic and kind of almost doing kind of the physical-ish stand-up that he does. So here's him on Bill Gates. And this is, and it's a good example because I don't like Bill Gates. So I can look at this objectively and not defend the person he's going after, and yet look at how his brain works when he hears and sees information online. And this is ubiquitous problem amongst the what I would call the upper middle class, but bored celebrities. Okay, so this is Bill Gates is evil. Jim Breuer reacts.
Why is Bill Gates worshipped?
Bill Gates is not worshipped. He really isn't. There's not a cult of Bill Gates. There's not. I would argue if you're going to say that about anybody, Elon Musk and Trump. Like, you can tell that they have a blathering bunch of bullshit followers, but nobody rushes online to defend Bill Gates. Anyways, there are supporters of the Gates Foundation or what they're trying to do, but in general, most people either shrug him off, don't particularly like him, or hope he's not doing too much evil, but don't really, he's involved in stuff because of Microsoft.
Can anyone explain that to me?
I think I just did. It's pretty much because the software that he was responsible for bringing on the scene in the first, 15 solid years of the company are why 80% of the computers on the planet run their software, and why he's going to get billions even after he stopped working at the company forever and ever and ever. So that's why he's reached a level of importance, and Microsoft has its tendrils and everything, including your buddy's laptop. I don't think that's a Mac. It's all I see is a black dot. It's a little, like, it's small on my screen. So if anybody thinks that's an Apple laptop, let me know. But it looks like a PC, like a Lenovo or an HP. It looks like an HP, like those tiny little. So I'll tell you why. Because he's more than likely the guy who developed the company that runs the computer that your buddy is using, and the computer that's running the software on the thing you're broadcasting from, and because initially Google used all of it to start their company and you're on YouTube. That's why. And yet still no one worships him.
What is it about Bill Gates? What is it about Bill Gates that is so special?
Again, his billions because of his business and Microsoft. It's fucking Microsoft. Like, it's a giant. It is one of the Microsoft and Apple, the two primary transitional, computer companies in the era of personal computers, moving them from giant refrigerators in banks and at the Pentagon into your living room and onto your friend's little work desk.
Someone tell me, how does a man like this?
Like this? I didn't realize we were speaking Old English.
Billions and billions and billions of dollars get to say, I want to block out the sun.
I don't know. I guess you could say that for free. Broke motherfuckers could say, I want to block out the sun. I'm fairly sure that's a Wasp lyric. And Blackie Lawless, while criminally underfinanced considering the quality of the music he's made over the years, isn't going to go to, it's free speech.
Hear about this?
Okay.
He wants to block out the sun.
He does. He's sick of the sun. He's a very pale dude. He wants, now I've never been on the Gates Foundation website, but I think he wants to stop, this might be one of the things they floated about climate change, like a series of mirrors so that they could lessen the sunshine, or open and close them so you'd have control over the atmosphere long term. It's like Starlink or like Neuralink level postulating.
Engineering mosquitoes.
Right, to not carry malaria or be sterile so that mosquitoes don't breed in areas where malaria is killing a lot of people.
And he invests all his money in depopulating the world.
Well, not all of his money. Obviously, if you wanted to depopulate Africa, you'd kind of help malaria along, one would think.
And this all comes out of his mouth. I want to show you this, and I want to know, and I know people that are actually like crazed. They love my neighbor that used to live in Chestnut, New Jersey. He's like, we always contribute to the Gates Foundation because he does so much. He does so much?
Yeah, he does a lot. I mean, the foundation itself, even if he turned out to be an evil asshole, like Capone had orphanages and people would finance the orphanages. Like, again, I don't like Bill Gates, so I don't feel like I'm even defending him. But this is so based on kind of people get at a run in a conspiratorial zone, and then they latch onto a Twitter video or a TikTok feed and go, aha, we caught him, whatever. Okay, so this, you'll see.
Bill Gates is an Avengers character.
Right, if you oversimplify everything. I think he means a supervillain.
Play these things by him.
Okay, by the way, play these things by him. Okay, these things are not by him. This is a supercut of stuff that they have talked about over the years where this is Council of Foreign Relations. Is that where they are? World Economic Forum. That's a clip. Reduce population, it says up here. And it's a TikTok. Okay.
Population growth. That's this big benefit. The key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
In the developed.
Right. By the way, imagine freaking out about that statement. So one of the problems in Africa was overpopulation because people have kids because some of them are going to die. They just keep having children because that's their retirement plan. And so if healthier, well-educated people have fewer kids. So if you were worried about population growth, the way you do it is not by wiping out lots of people or killing them. It's by feeding them and making sure they're healthy and that kind of stuff, because then they live longer and their backs don't give out and they don't feel the need to, like, you don't need like 9 kids so you can sell 8.
Countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
I would like to reduce the number of people on the planet because there's too many of us.
Oh, really?
Right. That's the Jane Goodall. Like, obviously, she was part of that whole big guerrilla push to depopulate. And by the way, this is the Kamala Harris thing where she said she says population when she means pollution. But she said reduce population. She meant reduce pollution. And everybody jumps on that it was a Freudian slip.
Invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population.
Yeah.
Wait. What the?
More of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Oh, wow.
Now, the world today has 6.
Right. So that was population versus pollution they were talking about. She mismatched the words, and I think she corrected it later. But either way, you guys know that's what she did.
8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that. We're taking.
Right. Again, we could lower that population. Notice how they cut these things really high.
Things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. So in the next 5 to
Yeah, but he's saying that's not a good thing. That's bad.
years for the next pandemic, we will.
Oh, and this is also notice it still says reduce population, but it shifts into this whole thing about they know another pandemic's coming, because this is basically a QAnon TikTok that they threw together that's like full of ahas, right?
We'll solve all those problems.
By the way, they've got Jim's up here in the corner just like leaning against the desk watching the show. Rev here.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when.
History teaches us that the next pandemic
By the way, if you were in control of it, you kind of would, wouldn't you?
is a matter of when, not if.
We know what's next. We're going to have another major coronavirus pandemic before the end of this decade, before 2030.
If we really
Because we have a version of one almost every decade, and all it needs to do is get a wind-up. Swine flu, avian flu, SARS. There's a reason why it's COVID-19. The point is you have to have a barrier against it, or it will go rolling. And one day, like COVID, the fear is that it will start rolling so fast you'll never get a handle on it, and everybody, it'll, like tuberculosis and all these other things, which are making a comeback, thanks RFK Jr., will wipe everybody else out. By the way, I don't think Jim or any of these guys know about tuberculosis as, quote, the white plague, rolling across the United States at one point and putting people in tuberculosis sanatoriums all over the country, rounding them up. I just don't think he has any kind of a grasp on that part of history. If he did, it would go against the kind of storyline that they sell. So
prevent the next pandemic, and there will be one. There will absolutely be an outbreak of another
it's amazing
pandemic.
How people know what pandemic.
I love it. He's like, they're so confident there's going to be one, because there always is. There's this many people on the planet. Diseases give rise to other diseases. They spread. It's how it happens. AIDS, fucking tuberculosis, malaria. If we hadn't put a stop to it, like polio. We know diseases spread. They're contact infections, dipshit. And again, you can say that there are players in this that want to further them or make them worse or profit all that off of them. That's neither here nor there, because the rest of it is gonna fucking happen. If you don't believe me, ask all the chickens in the United States, for fuck's sake.
Coming. It's amazing how this guy, he talks about we need to depopulate the world. Everyone talks about depopulating. Have you all traveled? Have you been to Middle America?
Yeah, for extended periods of time, yes.
Nothing but space. Space, land, and space.
Yeah, they're not talking about the population of Kansas, asshat. They're talking about South America in the really dense urban areas of that, India, Africa, and China, where there are so many people in such a small area that the environment around them, beyond the climate, the environment around these people starts to collapse and disease runs rampant through those places, starvation, death, all the unnecessary parts of this. And then those diseases, might shock you, can sometimes get rolling and become a pandemic, because that's how infectious disease works. It starts in slums. It starts in places where there's a lot of human fecal matter and waste in the water.
Oh, now we play God? We decide who's going to live and who's not going to live? Do you
No.
remember years ago?
Well, actually, yes, we do. We do decide who's going to live, not the not going to live. Obviously, he voted for Trump, and those 11 guys in that fucking boat in international waters off of Venezuela. Sure, yeah, your guy decided they should die without a hearing, not knowing who the fuck they are or what the fuck they were really doing. Yeah, in that case. And in the case of who lives, I mean, if you want to come out for Medicare for all or free healthcare, have at it, asshole. Because we could decide a lot more people live for a very low cost if we gave a shit. But convincing you guys has been the hard part.
When we used to look at China and we'd go, oh, that's a sick country because they don't allow, if it's a son.
He's talking about the one-child policy, I think.
Or if it's a daughter, they have to get rid of them. It's like, what kind of country would do that to their children? The U.S. would.
No, we wouldn't. No, we don't. Who's the U.S.? You live here, fuckhead. What is that?
And you're allowing Bill Gates to say it, and people still put this man on a platform.
No, I think he puts himself on the platform because of his money. I don't think, again, Trump did. And if you want to bitch, then I don't remember him showing up at the DNC, right? You ever seen Bill Gates, as much as he might allegedly support liberal causes over the years, I don't remember him speaking at any of these situations. Pretty much a recluse during the business years and ever since. I mean, the only person that put him on a platform besides Trump last night or the night before last was Jeffrey Epstein.
Playing God, he gets to decide who will live and who won't live. Because
no, he doesn't. He can put his money and other people's money through the Gates Foundation into causes he believes are in, and if other people buy into it, it can happen. But you do realize the sun is not blocked out, right? And that video is from fucking 1999.
Which I didn't know he was a scientist. And I didn't know he was a doctor. The last I checked, he was like a computer whiz.
Right. Now tell everybody how much you love Elon Musk.
So was under investigation by the government a long time ago because he was the guy that created viruses when he was the only one that knew how to fix the viruses. Oh, genius, sire. And then he took his millions.
Okay. Bill Gates under investigation for creating viruses. Okay.
And he changed his whole image to be like, hi, I'm the vaccine guy. Let's go to Korea and kill kids.
So, anyways, you guys get You guys get the idea that, like, this is what happens when common misconceptions and a lot of fucking wasted free time watching way too much oversimplified TikTok horseshit isn't the right. I mean, like, he's not saying something that there aren't dozens of assholes flipping through TikTok that don't say the same things to their friends to alienate them. The difference is if he wants to talk about money and platform, Breuer has one and he's using it for that, and he's speaking directly to that person. Right? Right? He's talking to those like, what the fuck? This is insane, right? That there's an audience for that, and that's what. Yeah, maggots hate Bill Gates, exactly, and not because he was friends with Epstein the same time Trump was, oddly enough, and not because he fucked with Netscape or was a shitty businessman or Windows was a knockoff of the Apple desktop system. God damn. He and Victoria Jackson and Roseanne ought to get together and just have a blitz freak out. Now, speaking of a blitz freak out, let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Spread the show about, will you? Alex Jones and Owen have split. I don't know how we're all going to deal. We're all going to hold it together. I don't know if any of us have the strength to deal with the emotional impact. Because if they can't keep it together, how can the rest of us hope to hold on? What chance do Taylor and Travis have if Owen and Alex... Okay, all right. I honest to God, I have no idea what the real reason is behind their blitz and freak out, but Boston Brian mentioned this to me, and I just had to take a look. I'm just saying, it looks bad. Exclusive, Alex Jones exposes why Owen Schroyer really quit. I think he was fired for growing a mustache. Didn't he have like the long Amish, for the longest time he had the Amish beard, no mustache? And everybody's like, you look like you got a restraining order to stay away from schools. You might want to try and grow a mustache there and look a little hardier. So here it comes. Oh.
Balmer Spanish.
More like baller Spanish. These are the ads.
Why has no one told you that memory loss can be reversed without expensive medication?
By putting baking soda on the back of your neck?
I am a crack whore. He's like, here's...
Hold on. Okay, obviously, I'm coming in the middle of something.
You are a snake. You are a rat.
What?
You are a fraud.
Me?
You are a backstabber.
What?
You are a handbiter.
No.
You are a disgrace.
I am not. How dare you, sir? What have I ever done? What is this madness? All I have ever done is mock your bloated corpse incessantly while you have this ridiculous dick compensation set behind you. That's all I have ever done. Also, clean up your desk.
If it's his personal life, I don't know if it's stuff he's smoking.
Look out!
But I've seen a lot of people get paranoid, that smoke pot and go nuts.
Have you? A lot of them?
But, I can just tell you this right now, that I'm not here to be shit on or stabbed in the back. This crew isn't your punching bag, and we did nothing to you but be loyal. And you're...
This crew? You mean the two guys there? The guy that turns the lights on and leaves, and the other guy who points the camera and leaves?
5-hour extravaganza of little puppy dog that doesn't know why, and he just wanted to come back and shake my hand. He starts talking to me like he's literally a pimp, and I am a crack whore.
Well, okay, so he's a friend, and you've known him for a while, and he knows your your love language? Talk to me like a crack whore. The Alex Jones love language.
It's like, here's how it's gonna be. I'm leaving. And blah, blah, blah. Well, what's the problem? What's the thing? Well, what can we do? I don't understand. He's like, well,
I feel like don't you feel like you were there in the room? Wow, I love behind the scenes moments.
just gone on too long and whatever. But I'll tell you this, if you're really desperate,
he's really
you can pay me more money. But I'll tell you this, I'm going to promote my new show on InfoWars.
What the hell? What kind of Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens they all get greedy at some point, just because somebody gets a look at the books and realizes you're shuffling millions of dollars, allegedly, to your dad so you can hide it from everybody else, and realizes when he sees the receipts that he's getting stiffed and all he wants to do is promote his own show on there. Like, nope, that's it. I'm not a crack whore. Wow, this escalated quickly.
And I went, which again, I'm not even against him having a show. If he was nice, I was just like, it was just kind of like, I was like, well, I said, in the bankruptcy stuff, I can't really give you a raise. But I said, that's okay, Owen. He goes, well, you know what? As a favor for you, I'll come in and do a week. And I'm like, no, that's okay, Owen. That's fine. I wish you well.
Sorry. This is brutal. I hope you guys have some tissues handy.
Hung up and literally got a tear in my eye because he was talking to me with just like Patrick Bateman or something. So then he raped.
Wait, like Patrick Bateman? Christian Bale's character in American Psycho? Did he lean across the table when the music was playing too loud and go, I'd like to chop your fucking head off and wear your skin as a hat, right? All right, sorry. You were saying? Here we go.
Is out and goes on air and is like, I'm just leaving because, I know I can't talk about Trump and, I know it hurts Jones's access and, he really, all innuendo. He didn't have the guts to just tell the pure lie that I told him to do stuff, which I didn't. And a bunch of other stuff. I haven't even watched half of it. It's just so painful to watch.
Well, if you haven't watched half of it, how do you know he didn't go ahead and tell the full lie? All right, never mind. This is Breuer. Again, I only dream that some of us can still find hope. If this is like Bogey and Bacall, or Roseanne and vodka.
He's sitting there manipulating and wriggling around like a snake, trying to make it as bad as he can, but skate the edge so he can say, I never did that, because he's got the whole crew knows it's not true. He's got the...
Now that whole thing about weed making you paranoid, and I've seen you smoke weed with Joe Rogan, I think it was. So I know you do. Is there any chance, and I know I'm going out on a limb here, that you're speaking from experience? Because it sounds like weed paranoia is kind of your brand.
Host, no, it's not true.
Yeah, for the record, without the segment of the population that weed makes paranoid, this asshole wouldn't have a show. I'm just like, for the record.
He then runs on air and is like, I just wanted to...
By the way, this is edited like fucking crazy. This is their clip. This is 48 minutes long. I'm not going through all of it, obviously. But in 2 minutes, we've seen 8 cuts so far.
Come back for a week and shake his hand and thank him. But he didn't. He doesn't want to be my friend. Meanwhile, let me tell you how it is. I mean, literally, yeah, no, it's all over. It's not that. You can't get me back. I tell you, though, if you're really desperate. And he said that, and I went, excuse me? There was more, and he goes, well, I mean, if you want to do something really desperate. And he was really getting off on it. And I'm like going, this is an evil son of a bitch, man. Wow, I had a snake around here. I had no idea.
Well, then, real quick, I'll put a pin in whether or not you're a good judge of character in terms of people kind of in general, and therefore, in your own work life, and that you'll just sidle up to anybody who says the right shit, who could turn out to be awful later, Donald Trump. But the point is, Maybe you should stop if you could be this fooled by someone this close to you in your orbit that you let run your show and speak on your behalf for weeks at a time. If you can be that bad a judge of character with that guy, maybe you have no fucking business telling people what to believe and what not to believe, since you're a gullible prick. I'm just floating that out there. That if you could be so bamboozled by someone so close to you for so long, and whether he's evil or not, and whether it's just he's butthurt about a personal breakup over something immaterial. But if he's going to sell the idea that he had a snake and he had no idea, why the fuck should anybody listen to you? He had to leave for you to kick him out. What the fuck? How does that work? You're that big of a gullible dickhead? Why the fuck should we believe anything you say? Beyond all the other reasons not to believe anything you say. Especially the largest logical fallacy about the entire Alex Jones thing, which is if there was a big, powerful elite group and he was really telling the truth about him, they'd have killed him a long time ago in an aircraft, or he would have suicided himself in the fucking woods, like tends to happen to people who write for the San Jose Mercury News or become Congress people from Minnesota, for example, that you would kind of disappear, right? So the only other reason you haven't is because you work with and for them and you tell everybody exactly what they want to hear to distract them from the real shit. And the minute you start to get on some of the real shit, they pay you or play you out the door to stop it. And you play along. Because it's this or back to cable access. That's the legit reason why Alex Jones is full of shit. Based on his own words and his own deeds for a couple of decades. But the part where he apparently was getting fucked by Schroyer this entire time, and the guy was a snake and evil, and he let him run his show and all this stuff, again, that alone should be enough evidence, beyond the fact that you shit on the Sandy Hook parents, to never listen to any conclusion you come to. You can read a news story all you fucking want. You can hold up another news story, but the links that this asshole creates between them should now and forever be questioned by his viewers if he couldn't see that some of his most... I mean, you and I know this, but fuck me.
And I literally started getting the tears in my eyes because he was...
Literally?
Down like an old house that burns up in like 2 minutes. He's burning down. I'm just like, oh, and I gotta go, man. And I literally stumbled in the pool and I was just like, And I was like, I'm gonna take the high road. I called the crew. I said, let's be nice, let's be sweet. And then I started seeing the clips. And Owen, man, you're a piece of crap, brother. All right. And if I was anybody, I wouldn't turn my back on Owen Schroyer. So, I mean, he...
Is that because he was your Coke supplier? Is that what that was?
Snake to the next level. So, Owen Schroyer's dead to me. If he goes on air and repents to Jesus...
Drama!
And apologizes for being demon-possessed or whatever it is he is, then I will forgive him.
Well, what if he's a lying snake? I mean, how can you trust that he's not doing it just because he's doing the bare minimum of what you told him to do? I mean, I'm not trying to make you like paranoid or anything, but
he thinks that he would like absorb us as a launch pad and lie about us to make himself a victim so he could project himself and launch his own show when he cut and run and didn't even call me or didn't even say anything or didn't.
It's getting pretty Glenn Close in here.
Say, hey, what can I do? He just cut and run and said, I'm done with you people. When Bloomberg and The Onion came in here and ransacked this place, and we stood up to him and won thanks to your backing and God's providence, and
what?
The whole time, he was trying to cut and run. But then when he figured out that, oh, it's still there. He slunk back over, and I never even came to him. I said, hey, it's good to have you back, man. Glad, blah, blah. Just, yeah, okay, sure. Just like, people say, why was you swinging around like that? Because I wasn't going to give him what he wanted. I knew what he was going to do, but I wanted to make sure. It's one thing to know what somebody's going to do, but it's another to wait till they do it. And he did it worse than I thought.
Wait a minute. I got a quick question. When did Alex Jones's like transition music get so quite the show you got there, Alex? How dare you, sir? Sir, how dare you? This is my soul. Hey, like, okay. So, is this the top of it? Did they just play this shit on a loop? Hold on a second. Man, back up here, you stupid asshole. Okay, hold on. I want to see if it continues a little bit or if it's the same stuff. Usually,
betrayal is
fun. No.
Of the most despicable things there is.
Okay.
And particularly betrayal that is carefully crafted.
Uh-huh.
And that is premeditated.
Uh-huh.
It's premeditated. That someone who acts like they're your friend is plotting and scheming and...
Uh-huh. They're plotting and scheming.
Manipulating.
Uh-huh.
And to just disregard it because you're a loyal person. And then to see that individual betray not just you, but the crew and the idea of what we are and how embattled we are, and to try to cast us as the villains and he as the hero and the victim. I will not put up with it.
No, he will not.
It is the holy grail out there to be censored, because when you really are censored, people want to Streisand effect find out what's been censored. And I've been really censored. I've been really attacked, and so is InfoWars.
Oh no.
But I've never accused people of censoring or oppressing me who didn't do it.
Oh no.
And we had another talk show host about 6 years ago post on Twitter that we were censoring him. He didn't say what. I came in to him and I said, what did we ever censor? What did we ever do? And he said, I'm not talking to you about it. You know you're censoring me. And I said, how? I said, listen, do it again, you're fired. And about a year later, they were uploading his morning show, and this happens, you know, every once in a while, and only the first hour went up, and he flipped out and went online and said that he was being censored by us. And I called him up, and he started yelling at me, don't you give me that. And I said, the guys, all the time we upload stuff to everywhere. They'll upload it. We don't even know, what were you talking about? He was just bashing Trump.
Oh, no.
And I said, that's it, you're fired, man.
Sounds like censorship, yeah.
Not because of what he was saying about topics, but because he was saying we were censoring him. So, and that was David Knight. Yeah. So I've got a real problem with this. And I took the high road on that because I wasn't very close to David Knight.
Right.
And he was kind of the grumpy old man and was just frustrated that his show wasn't as popular as mine. And I promoted it and just had a chip on his shoulder.
Can you imagine? I can't. Okay. Can you imagine if I came on this show, no matter how long I'd been on the air, and was like, okay, Boston and Brian, you know, and I've been friends for a long time, but that guy, he came on my show and he's like, I want to do my own show and I'm going to do reaction clips and stuff like that. And that snake in the grass, like, and, you know, and then Andrea's, you know, she's booking guests and all this kind of stuff. And I just have to say that, like, you know, just some people, can you imagine that? Like, for real. What a goddamn. Do you know how self-involved you have to be to, even when it's real, make this somebody else's fucking fault or business or anything else, and not just take the high road and move the fuck on? Like, you know, like a delicate little fancy pants you have to be to fucking dedicate an hour of your show to, like, how dare he leave us like this, and he'd go on and say, oh, you're gonna say all this stuff about you, and I was like, oh, Pearl clutch, everybody, pearl clutch, everybody, pearl clutch. That's just fucking amazing. Pearl clutching, right? Pearl clutching, everybody be pearl clutching, right? Yeah, seriously, the bloated ballsack Karen of Austin, Texas. Please make a me song. Okay, it's a good idea. Although all singers know that song. Me. All right, now enough of that. I'm sure there'll be more to the Alex and Owen, chronicles. These are the days of our lives. All my children and Owen. Yes, the Desperate Housewives of InfoWars. Oh man. But we've got to move over to another how dare you betrayal moment that actually has a lot to do with what we've been talking about for real lately, and that is for real. Good old Vinny and Peanut Butter Dickhead talking some shit because Massie's getting attacked. And this one's called Stop Calling It a Hoax. Trump has been calling this a hoax. He's used that before, and so everybody thinks it's just a way, like he thinks it's like muscle memory, it's going to help him out of everything. If he just calls it a hoax, it'll go away, and his people will jump in line and immediately start calling it a hoax. The problem with that is that everybody around him supported him because it wasn't a hoax, and that it would prove that he was, like going after the child predators and all that shit for QAnon. The storm was coming, and Trump is the storm, and God's vengeance, and all the pictures of them with their hand, the Jesus pictures and the pastors with their hands on Trump. All that is about the Epstein files. All of that. Anytime you see one of those pictures where they're praying over Trump, the audience they are speaking to by putting their hands on Trump is go after the child predators. That's their televangelist audience insisting, right? Okay. So here's Peanut Butter Dickhead and Vinny watching, what I'm sure we're not going to do all of this either, but I'm sure we're going to see Vinny, come right up to the line without being able to cross the line.
This is Thomas Massie yesterday at the hearing, at the press conference where he talks about the claims that this is going to be another hoax and the Epstein files are a hoax.
Go ahead and play this clip.
I think it's shameful that this has been called a hoax. Hopefully today we can clear that up. This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so aside from that, I saw Gloria Allred calling out. I saw a bunch of different things. Is this Ro Khanna and what is he saying here?
This is Thomas Massie. He names one of the people implicated in the...
I think this is when he was on Newsmax.
Yeah, because what he says with Ro Khanna, he says these kids, these girls, if they go out and say the names, they will be sued for the rest of their lives. He says, but I can do it. We are going to read out the names. So apparently him and Ro Khanna want to go out there and read off the names that they have because they're not worried about them being sued. But the people that know the names are being told by their lawyers to not leak the names because of specific reasons. Who knows? Gloria all
because of Dershowitz. Because Virginia Giuffre didn't have access to the evidence that you would need to actually defend herself against Dershowitz. So it would be her word against his. And Epstein, the guy who set it up, is fucking dead. And Dershowitz was the president's lawyer at the time. So she had no chance. So of course she drew it back, and nobody fucking buys it. Nobody believes that anybody who walked back their claim against Dershowitz. I'm just saying this. This is he can go after me for slander and libel all he wants. I'm just expressing what I see, and that is that nobody believes that Dershowitz only got a massage from an old lady and left his underwear on, and he only did it once, and the dude went to the island a bunch of times. He hung out with Epstein all the time. He acted as a lawyer so he can keep a lot of what they said confidential. And so nobody believes it when he says she totally rescinded her comments. She totally retracted what she said about me. Yes, out of fear for her life, her safety, her financial well-being, her family, because she didn't have the means or the recourse available to her to go after him. So he was able to use the fact that he was the president's lawyer and that the guy who set it up was fucking dead, and he could keep other stuff hidden so that, and all you have to do is, deny something in a deposition, and he knew every bit of evidence that they had because of the connections that he had. So he could weasel his way around it. I don't think anybody, chat room, am I off base here? And does anybody actually believe Dershowitz when he says, and just the fucking sniff test in this situation, right? I honestly don't know anyone who actually believes that he didn't engage in this shit that he was originally accused of. It's absurd. And so that, like, we're all on the side of that pierogi dealer who told him to go fuck himself because he didn't want to sell to him because he's a scumbag. Just because you can get away with it doesn't mean everybody has to believe you were innocent. And by the way, courts don't find people innocent. They find them not guilty. And usually because of reasonable doubt in a criminal situation. In a civil case, it's only what they have access to as far as information. And if you know the President of the United States is sitting on all the information and will wait it out or hide it or burn it or order it destroyed for national security reasons, you feel pretty safe in threatening some girl with a lawsuit if she tries to tell the truth. That's his burden, not anybody else's. None of us have to believe his bullshit. Dershowitz is always reeked. He wrote a fucking op-ed about how we should lower the age of consent to the age a girl starts her period. Fuck off. No. That alone gives me, good old common sense. Gives me a reason to go, I think you're full of shit. I think actually, if you were hanging out with Epstein at the time you wrote that, it's because you were worried about the legality of what was going on around there. And you wanted to help him operate legally or participate. That's what it reeks of. Jesus. Fuck that dude. So the idea I'm never going to buy it. I don't. Like hearing him talk, listening to him talk about it, the details of the case and his long friendship. It's like Trump saying he had no idea what Epstein was up to. Bullshit. If you're going to say Bill Clinton did, then there's no fucking way Trump didn't.
Who is somebody who is representing, by the way, Gloria Allred, I believe, is representing 27 of the rape victims. Rob, can you validate is it 26 or 27? Gloria Allred, who is the GOAT in the space of, what do you want to call this? The
defending
sexual
females.
harassment stuff.
Listen, Adam, defending females. Yuck.
She's been the one. One of a very good documentary about her will tell you why she is, 27 survivors she's representing. So she's representing 27 of the Epstein victims, and they're worried about going out and giving the names. But here's what Thomas Massie had to say. Go ahead, Rob.
I'll give you the name of one of the billionaires who's running $2 million of ads in my district since I started this effort. His name is John Paulson. He's a hedge fund manager and a major donor to the Republican Party, a major donor to the Speaker of the House, a major donor to the president's campaign, and he's in Epstein's black book. Now that's public, but
that's right. So, and by the way, this dude Paulson made his money by betting against the mortgage bubble, knowing that the maybe even having insider information in theory, knowing when the crash was going to happen. He leveraged against it on, and that's how he became a multi-billionaire. So, John Paulson, where is it? Found his firm in 94, $4 billion net worth. And let's see, where's this? Yeah. This is, I'm going to try to bring this up for you, find something that's got more of the stuff in there. Here you go. Who is John Paulson? Key donor listed in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book, claims Thomas Massie. Significant political donor linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Paulson, founder of Paulson and Company, earned $5 billion in 2010 from event-driven investments. It was contributed to various institutions, including a record $100 million to Central Park Conservancy, and is known for substantial support of Republican candidates. God damn, have some more ads on here. Shit. So Massie said, let me give you the name of one of the billionaires, John Paulson, American billionaire, best known for founding Paulson in 1994. He gained worldwide attention in 2010 when he reportedly earned $5 billion in a single year, largely through gold-related investments. Early life education, John Paulson, personal life. Married Jenny Zaharia in 2000. They have 2 daughters. Family owns properties in New York, Aspen, Southampton. Filed for divorce, but later withdrew the case to settle matters privately. Paulson donated $100 million to the Central Park Conservancy, the largest gift ever made in New York's park system. By the way, let's see, in 2015 he gave $400 million to Harvard. He also supported institutions like New York University, Southampton Hospital, and Al Capone had orphanages. Paulson has been a longtime donor of Republican candidates and causes, and to Trump. And it's weird that it leaves that out in this particular one, in the Times Now world, whatever their breakdown is. Maybe, you know, there's a bunch of these things that start up and then they, like when you go looking for the links, say John Paulson, Trump might be the more direct way to do it. Yeah, here it is. Deny, okay, here we go. Deny, go away. Deny. Okay, here we go. Major Trump donor found in Epstein Black Book, Thomas Massie. Paulson was previously named to someone in Epstein's Little Black Book, a contact book that was seized during investigations. He's raised the issue amid a backlash. Spokesperson for Paulson told Newsweek that no relationship between Paulson and Epstein existed at any level of any kind. They accused Massie of carrying a fabricated attack with no substance at all. Epstein survivors, lawmakers, and the public have pressed the further disclosure of documents tied to the convicted sex offender. On Tuesday, the House Oversight Committee examining the Epstein probe released some 34,000 documents it had received from the Department of Justice, posting them online. However, the move was done little to silence demands for full disclosure, with Epstein's accusers saying officials were still holding back documents. Yes, that's about 1% of the materials available.
Indicative of the types of...
By the way, look at Rob's shit. Trump donor. I'm not allowed to react to that.
People who may be implicated or just embarrassed by a complete release of these files.
Okay, so Vinny, question to you.
Yes.
How's the vein in your neck and forehead?
You still believe nothing's going to happen to the names? Do you still believe Thomas Massie's time is being wasted? Do you still believe Ro Khanna's wasting his time saying all the stuff that they're saying because nothing's going to happen? Or do you believe there's going to be a little bit of justice for some people out there?
What I wish, Pat, and what I know, like not.
Also, what's a little bit of justice?
I believe is going to happen are completely.
What he means is selective justice.
You know what I wish for? I want every single person, not just on the list, Pat. I want who was there, victim, corroborated story, footage that all of a sudden nobody knows where it is. No Cash Patel, no. Remember the...
Yeah, that was weird. Cash Patel, he's busy, though. He's in Ohio taking credit for other people's busts. So, and Pam Bondi'd love to get into it, but she's down in Florida talking about a investigation that started under the Biden administration. So, you know, they'd love to go after this stuff, but they really just, their time, you know, how many hours in the day can you focus on something that nobody cares about?
1,000 hours of footage, okay? What I'm starting to feel like is...
that you might be full of shit? Please tell me, Vinny, that you're finally realizing you've been had, and or after you realize you've been had and you do nothing, you're actively a participant in the bullshit. Just saying. Go away. Quit it. I don't know why these pop-ups. All right.
People are like, Trump's on it, Trump's on it, Trump's on it. Let's put that to the side.
No, let's not. Let's not.
Finding out that people like John Paulson, who is one of the biggest donors to the president, okay, is on that list, okay? And by the way, I do not...
Okay. and they were both friends with him. And again, that doesn't, you don't connect those dots.
Like how everybody has turned on Thomas Massie. He's the only one, to me, him and like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that are actually still keeping this fire freaking lit and keeping it going. Okay, a lot of people are saying, you know, what's her name? Gloria Albright. This whole thing.
All red.
Lost credibility because she's involved, because she's all, you know, all about the glitz and the glamour. But think about it, John Paul.
Yes, nothing's more glitzy and glamorous than 27 rape victims wanting justice. You know what I mean? I mean, she might as well just install a gold toilet in her office and call it a day. It's the same.
One of them, Pat, if we have to think about it, besides Bill Clinton, besides, you know, the intelligence agency, which Paula Luna just came out and said that, and Rob, I might have sent it to you. Paula Luna said that the intelligence stuff, that the leaked documents have the CIA, have Israel, and have Russia, and I believe China. Everybody was...
Now there's more countries involved?
I think
Don't do that to Adam. He was just on... He just got the check telling him to keep pretending it's nothing, you know, has just cleared. Also, that's Trump's fucking signature over his right shoulder.
That's it. Pat, if you look right there, she says, in my opinion, there's definitely an intelligence connection. Countries named...
In my opinion.
And the lead attorney for the witnesses included Saudi Arabia, Russia, Israel, as well as former CIA director, inferred to the CIA director under the Bush administration.
It's more than just America or Mossad, you're saying? Now Russia and Saudi are involved?
All these, so what these...
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. The
Why
victims
would
are...
I be surprised?
Yeah.
So all I heard it was all Mossad.
So my thing is this, Pat,
all I heard it was all Mossad. Yeah, you know why? Because if you can blame Israel, the right wing, there's a chunk of them that are going to chase that down no matter what. Tucker Carlson, whose dad was in the CIA and lied about it for a year, and that keeps coming up. You know, or lied about it for a long time, but lied about it specifically, like knowing it for a year. It's just nonsense. The Russia part of it doesn't. It more breaks their narrative than the Mossad connection. Because right now it's hip in certain right-wing circles to not like Israel because of Netanyahu and Trump's relationship and what the fuck they're doing in Gaza. So all of a sudden that turn, it's like, well, we can go there. If it's Mossad, fuck it, let's find out. But Russia's still our buddy. Russia's still Trump's friend. Russia's still holding the cards. Russia's big, powerful white ethno-state that doesn't like the gays. We can't turn on Russia.
If Trump isn't in there and Trump is innocent, then there has... What's the other explanation? What's the other reason? Protecting people that have given you millions and millions to win. Bill Gates...
Well then, so hold on. Sorry, if you're protecting pedophiles because they gave you millions, I got news for you. You're not innocent. You're a co-conspirator. You're part of the intelligence and compromise gathering part of it. Because that's what you're using it for. If the concept is, and this is the way the kingdom flow, Epstein got rich because he got all this money from these people. He had compromising videos of them. He knew all this stuff about them. He had access to this stuff. He had it hidden in a safe. And if you don't give me your money, I'm going to release this stuff, right? That's the theory. How is that different from them giving money to Trump and he's not releasing the documents and he doesn't want to release the documents because they gave him money? Because it was a fucking transaction. And again, how is he different than Epstein in this situation? Because he raped adult women? In the rest of his life. I'm not even talking about his relationship with Epstein. The other shit he did. I don't understand how, like, Vinny and these assholes, and this is a vein that's happening throughout the entire right wing. I don't understand how they can separate that. Look, he's not part of Epstein's blackmail thing. He's just using Epstein's entire black book to fund his run for the presidency with promises of, I will get rid of the evidence once I get in there. That's the theory. I'm not in there, but I'm not going to release it because it'll embarrass some people. They gave me a lot of money. That's exactly what compromise is for. Pay me money, I won't release the documents.
I know we'll get into later. Bill Gates yesterday, this guy, of all the stuff that he's done, he's sitting next to the president like everything is good.
And Melania.
Yeah.
Right there. Mind you, this is the guy that his wife Melinda left him, and the main reason she said, her words, was because of his relationship after Epstein was already a convicted pedophile. She said, when I first met him, he was...
Yeah, and he's not at the end of the table. These are the tech billionaires that he's working with, and Gates isn't over in the corner. He's right next to Melania. And I got to tell you, like, what part of AI and tech right now is Bill Gates really involved in? Maybe he consults the Microsoft board some, but certainly not about this level of cutting edge technology. He doesn't know any more about AI than Melania does. And yet, there he is, right next to Melania, who allegedly was introduced to Trump by Jeffrey Epstein, who allegedly hung out with Bill Gates so much that his wife left him. And here's Vinny. Look at fucking Vinny's face. Look at his fucking face. Doing everything he can not to go, Trump's in there. Trump, of course he is. If this was anybody else, if this was a Democrat, all of them would be raging with Hunter Biden's all over the files. He's in the files. Where is he? Like the shit they talked about the Hunter Biden laptop, which by the way, still doesn't exist. Feel free to at me. Where is it? Where's the fucking Hunter Biden laptop? You're never going to find it. It never existed. It was a hard drive named laptop that floated around, and Rudy Giuliani bought it when he went to fucking Ukraine. He overpaid $3 million for it, $6 million. He brings back this fucking hard drive with all this shit on it that's a mix of fabricated stuff and stuff downloaded from a hacked phone and mixed in together and go, here, this is your evidence. None of it will stand up. There's no chain of evidence in it, so it has to be a PR run. They gotta blitz with all this shit talking about Hunter Biden and have Marjorie Taylor Greene wag his dick in front of everybody and talk about his drug use, which was in his fucking autobiography. But, and by the way, zero crimes. Like the pardoning on the IRS stuff, that even comes from stuff he admitted to, ultimately underpaying his taxes. But he wasn't pardoned. There wasn't even a case brought against him for you can't bring a case against somebody for smoking crack if you have a picture of them that looks like they're smoking crack. Pictures of someone smoking a substance in a glass pipe that you don't test is not evidence, even if they themselves previously had admitted to it. Your Honor, I wasn't smoking crack then. Well, you said you were. Well, that's because I was smoking crack later, and I was high on crack when I said that was a crack pipe. That's not a crack pipe. That was a musical instrument I bought on Craigslist, right? Like, there's no crack in that at all. I was so high, I was smoking, dust out of the fucking carpet. I was smoking Parmesan. That's literally a picture of me smoking Parmesan that somebody took. So you can't arrest me for smoking Parmesan, right? That's how you do it. It's like, there is no case. But these guys were up Hunter Biden's ass all the time. They'll still throw that shit around, but they just can't allow themselves to recognize the relationship between all three of the people in the screen and Jeffrey Epstein being a deep, long, and abiding friendship.
Personified. You know what I mean? That's a huge step. She said, he was abhorrent, and she goes,
So what are you saying? You're saying that the president is
I guess the Future Looks Bright merch isn't selling that well. So they're all wearing their own T-shirts. Or did they all just, some days, you decide before you start work to have a little oil wrestling with your fellow co-hosts, I guess. And then afterwards, your suit's all fucked up, so everybody has to just grab whatever's around because the show's got to start. And you're wearing a Future Looks Bright shirt. Is that the theory?
I think a guy like Bill Gates.
I believe, like people like John Paulson and stuff, this is just a guess. Some people would say that the reason that this hasn't come out, because, how much...
Some people would say, Vinny, you pussy, just say it.
How many mess-ups, how many lies, from Pam Bondi to Kash Patel to Dan Bongino looking like this. He killed himself. Like somebody had a gun to his head. To now Trump saying it's a Democrat hoax. Something is off.
Yes, Vinny, something is off. You stop blaming the rest of the world. Stop looking for a solution outside yourself. Recognize that you are and have been for quite some time ragingly, blazingly full of shit. And Everybody around you has been cradling this horse shit for a long time for your realization, including Adam, who's been creating like false bounce points so you can argue the peripherals so that neither of you come to the obvious logical conclusion that, of course, Trump was friends with Epstein for a quarter century. Of course they fucking partied together. Of course he got girls from Epstein. Even if they were of age, they were like sex trafficked as young girls. Just because they turn 18 doesn't make them less of a sex slave in that situation. That's part of also what Epstein did for his buddies. When they got too old for him, he would farm them out to dudes who, like Trump, who's a fucking mommy's boy. There's nothing off out in the rest of it. It's fucking self-evident. But this motherfucker
is off, and I don't think we're ever going to get to the actual answer, and I don't think anybody will.
How about just stop at you don't think? God damn, these guys are stupid.
Jail. Anybody. And that's a sad, sad thing for me to say.
I don't know if, okay, so Martha Stewart, she went to jail for months.
Yeah.
For insider trading and for something that everybody today does. And she went away for, right? Okay.
Yeah, because she's a woman. You know, unfortunately, she didn't have Gloria Allred on her side helping her with female stuff, right, Adam?
Do I think no one's going to be held accountable? So watch this, Vinny. Yep. Here's one way of thinking about it. If you don't believe...
This is going to be fucking painful. Like the fucking... Where this guy like whips out his logic dick and lays it on the desk for everybody to admire. And he doesn't realize the pool is cold. And he wasn't working with much to begin with. Every time he does this, it gets worse. But it's become an anchor point of the show.
No one's going to be held accountable. Not 100%. It's never going to be 100%, just so you know that.
Yeah.
It's never going to be 100%. The reason why it's never going to be 100% is why? You don't have enough documents to prove. By the way, it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yes.
But guess what the court needs?
Proof. Yeah, show me.
So I'm talking to one of the guys at school, and the dean at school, and he says to me, he says, Pat, if I get a claim, and if I don't have documentation, if I don't have anything, if I don't have videos, if I don't have anything, I move on. I can't do anything with it. Yeah. I need something and a couple other witnesses to say something like that happened.
What school are you going to? Isn't everybody on this panel under a restraining order to stay away from schools?
If they have it, they can do it. But watch this. If you don't believe anything can happen and nothing will be...
Oh, my God. This is fucking... It's going to be like a motivational talk.
Why are we talking about it? Why are we talking about it? Why talk about it on the podcast? Why bring it up? What's the outcome of us talking about it?
I want them to know that we know.
Well,
I want them.
They know. But they know. We need to say it one time, and it's.
No, they kind of don't. They're hoping it goes away. Stupid. Like, again, the tortured logic.
But actually think about to the core.
Oh, my God. What's the essence of this whole thing?
Why do we talk about a certain story? How many times, Rob, would you say, in all the podcasts in 2025, how many podcasts, say we've done 2 for 8 times 7 months, let's just say, is what, 56? Out of the 56 podcasts we've done this year, Home Team Rob, how many times you think Epstein's been mentioned in one of those 56 podcasts?
Maybe a quarter.
Maybe a quarter?
25%.
I agree. So let's just say 14.
Higher than that, yeah. Go on.
Adam's just sick of it.
14. Why are we talking about it? Actually ask the...
Because it's important? What the fuck? Sorry. If these... All right, I'm done. Can I just say for the record, if these assholes only talked about things they could materially impact, they'd shut the fucking show down. These guys aren't in office. They're not law enforcement. They don't have an actual material role in any of this. So the idea that, hey, we talked about this and nothing happened. Welcome to the rest of your fucking show, dumbass. Fucking hell. It's so lazy. Like the whole fucking thing. All right. Now, it's hard to like... Okay, let's jump to this real quick because this is gonna. I got to cheer myself up a little because this is fucking ridiculous. Apparently, Glenn Beck was almost attacked in D.C. You know how I know? Glenn Beck almost got attacked in D.C.? Question mark, exclamation point. No, not Glenn. I thought it was a safe zone.
And the crime spree just keeps coming. Now we know Brett Baier, Saturday, pulled over in Georgetown. Why? He was talking on his phone, and he wasn't supposed to be on his phone while he was driving, which he pointed out clearly. His Mercedes G-Wagon. That's my wife's car. That's my wife's car. I got a ticket, whatever. Yeah, I probably had some blow on me, but that's my wife's car.
So, little throwaway there. Brett Baier probably had some blow on him, according to Glenn Beck. There's your fucking headline. Glenn Beck, Brett Baier probably had blow on him while driving his wife's car and talking on the phone and getting a ticket.
It's definitely my wife's car because it was a white G-Wagon. And, I mean, it's clearly a girl's car, Brett. Clearly. I mean, G-Wagon, girl wagon. That's what it is. You take it in, you park it in the same parking spot every day. It's the G-spot. You don't need a real big map on this one. It's a chick car. At least in white.
I had
ick.
Any additional jokes to add on to that? I'm going to stop. But yeah, that was funny. That did seem to be the focus of his statement. I guess he was on the phone and he wasn't supposed to be, so he got a ticket.
Yeah,
so
that's illegal in D.C. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for the record, he may have been pointing out that it was his wife's car because his phone might link to his car, but in his wife's car, he has to use speakerphone. That's probably where that came from in any logic. The blow, I don't know.
Good for them pulling over Brett Baier and giving him a ticket. Good. I'm glad to see it. I mean, not that I want to see everybody. You know what I mean. Everybody, if you're breaking the law, you get a ticket, and it's good to see that that everybody is getting that. They had 56 arrests on Tuesday night. Don't have the number today, but it's probably about another 50.
Right, and the judge there said they're just scooping people up just to get the arrest numbers high.
Including an illegal MS-13 gang member, which, by the way, has MSNBC, they're renaming it to MS Now, right?
Yeah.
Have they thought about...
this is call it MS-13. We've heard this. This is all over Twitter at one point.
MS-13? We give you the news headlines 13 times a day. We are MS-13. At least it'd be more accurate, really.
Really, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. That would be...
Thanks, Stu. So the network with Rachel Maddow on it chooses knives to cut up young girls because it's more vicious and they like pain. That's the... it's MS-13 jokes. Yeah.
It is.
Might be better.
Same.
Might be actually a better name than MS Now.
Right. So the stats in Washington, D.C., this seems to be working.
Seems.
Now is down 46% versus the previous 7 days. So a week ago, look, the robberies have gone down 46%.
Well, then how are arrests up?
ADW, aiding dumb whites. What is ADW?
Assault with a deadly weapon.
Assault. Okay. Down 6%. Carjacking down.
Wow, 6%. Assault with a deadly weapon. 6% fluctuation in 7 days. That's not statistical noise or anything.
83%. Car theft down 21%. Violent crime down 22%.
I thought it was a safe city. It's only down 22%. I thought it was gone.
Crime down 6%. Now here's what I don't get. After all of those stats, all crimes down 8%. How do you have these huge numbers and then it's all crime is only down 8%?
Because most crimes aren't violent?
Yeah, maybe you know what? Maybe
because you're reading specific crime stats and they don't include other things. Like you put in assault with a deadly weapon, for example, but you didn't just put in simple assault, which is somebody punching somebody else.
People like Brett Baer with this phone is up like 45%, and that's offsetting it.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what
those are traffic citations.
Is, of course, I don't know, because I'm sure there's a law in Washington, D.C., you can't hitch your horse to like a lamp post.
Right.
I'm sure that's still on there.
Yeah,
and that's probably gone through the roof.
I was talking to Drew.
I think the thing he's pointing out is that if they had all those old laws on the books that weren't being violated because nobody does them anymore, they wouldn't factor in, and so therefore, dumb joke.
Yesterday, writer, and he lives in D.C., and he was talking about the crime problem, and he described a situation near his house where a park was closed, one of their local parks that you could go and take a walk and walk your dog or whatever, and it was closed. Why was it closed? Because several hundred teenagers decided to schedule a quote-unquote fight in the park.
Oh.
So there was a massive brawl that broke out in this park, which meant they had to close the entire park. Now, that's not going to be 200 crimes, right? That's not how that's going to be.
No,
it's probably maybe one or two. However, it totally disrupted the lives of the people who lived around this park, right?
Excellent point. Thanks, Stu. So the statistical crime rate has gone down, but it has grown, on the one-to-one personal level has expanded like fucking crazy. So thanks, Stu. It's a rampant crime wave in Washington, D.C., and also Brett Baer does coke, according to The Blaze.
That's what people are missing. Ricky told us that a friend of hers was robbed. Somebody came up, took their wallet. He didn't even report it to the police. He's like, what are they going to do? They're never going to find my wallet. I'm not going to waste my time. So he didn't even report it.
Or he was lying and told his wife a story because he left it in the hooker's basement apartment and he didn't want to go back and get it.
I don't know what crime this would be, but I've told you the story last time I was in Washington, D.C. My wife and I are just walking down the street, and a guy on a bike, a big black guy who looked insane, and I think he...
in fairness, every big black person looks insane to Glenn.
Was seriously disturbed. But he rides his bike around. He's like, today's the day I'm going to kill me a white guy. I'm going to kill me a white man today. And he's pointing at me.
Well, yeah, your wife is totally safe in this circumstance.
And I'm like, what?
She's like, don't look at me. I'm fine.
Too bad you don't see just behind me about 20 steps or 2 armed security guys. So give it a whirl, Jack. But
look how butch Glenn gets. Oh yeah, I got 2 bodyguards that are walking way behind me. Not like I'm gonna whip out my burner and pepper this boy. Like none of that. Just like, oh yeah, you want to start a fight? Why don't you talk to those 2 guys?
I didn't report that. Right. And I think that kind of stuff.
Because you can't. Also, why wouldn't you? Maybe he went off and killed a poor white guy, and you let it happen.
Happens to people all the time in Washington, D.C. It's a quality of life thing.
Right.
I don't know. I've been there a bunch. Didn't happen.
Oh.
You just become used to it.
Maybe I just look scarier than you, Glenn. Maybe that's it. Maybe when I'm walking around, I just look a little more intense than this fucking Q-tip and spectacles.
Like,
right.
New York is a good example of this. New York's murder rate, by the way, is 1/7 of Washington, D.C., but we did live and work in New York. 1/7. We did live and work in New York for a while, and it becomes part of your life to ignore things that everyone else in the country would never ignore, right? Like
because you know it's not going to be anything. Tourists notice all kinds of shit that people who live someplace notice, like the smell coming from the blaze.
The best example of this, Stu, is you and I on the subway. We were waiting for the subway, and you and I were just talking about something, and we didn't realize. We stood there for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and I think you said, I think the big one's going to win. And I'm like, I have my money on him, too. And what we were talking about, we had not discussed it before. We had been sitting there talking to each other. But both of us, while talking, were watching 2 rats fight over like a hot dog wrapper or something.
Right. And because you were trying to find the moment to make your move.
It just had begun. And I looked at Stu and I said, we have been here too long.
Yeah.
We got to get out. When that's just normal, we've got to get out.
Yeah, and I think that is actually part of this. If you want...
No, it isn't. No, it's fucking not. Rats in the New York subway is not like, oh my God, what has the world come to? There are fewer rats in the New York subway than there were before, and there's still 2 for every person in the city.
A little bit of a break to the crazy people who are defending, Washington, D.C. as this bizarre Disneyland. You almost start to delete these terrible experiences from your mind. It's the only way you can deal with them.
Right. It's almost like they never happened.
Saw one guy actually post. He's like, I'm sick of all these Republicans and Trump and MAGA people saying, how terrible this city is and how much crime there is. Sure, I've been mugged. And yeah, I had my car broken into, but this is a great city. And it's like, he had just disjointed himself from those experiences as if they didn't happen. And as if that's...
Yeah, but you could be mugged and have your car broken into in Covington, Kentucky as well. And there are way fewer national monuments and good restaurants. There are a couple of good ones, but most of them are chains.
Normal for people. Yeah, everyone goes through those things. No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, but nowhere else I've ever lived did I expect that to occur.
But
fuck your expectations. What actually happened? Neither of these assholes have been mugged. Neither of these assholes have had their car broken into in D.C., no matter how much time they spent there. I don't know. They probably didn't have a car in New York. And their big story of, oh my God, New York is a dangerous cesspool, is they saw 2 rats in the fucking subway trying to eat a hot dog.
That's not...
How long do you think it took them to realize that they were actually just seeing their reflection in the glass in the men's room?
Same, which rat's going to win thing.
No.
Where you just get used to it. That's politics. If you're mugged, if it were reversed... and crime was going out of control and Donald Trump was not doing anything about it and this guy gets mugged, he'd be like, of course, what do you expect? The Republicans are in. They don't care about us. They don't care. I mean, that's politics.
No. You don't get to make up a situation where he was mugged because he shrugged it off when Democrats were running it. He's not saying it's now a cesspool because of Trump. We're listening to the story told via the game of telephone, so the details are a bit scant. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that, okay, this guy was mugged when, fucking Obama was president or something like that. It would probably never occur to him to blame the president of the United States for a street crime that occurred in a highly populated city in the United States of America, ever. But the idea that somehow... if it did happen during Obama and somebody said, you should move the fuck out of there, and he's like, nah, it's a city, shit happens. It's the same thing. Like, he's having the same reaction. He still lives there.
That's not just getting used to it. Getting used to it is having to step over the homeless person or the drug addict or, walking down the street and seeing, people that are all hunched over because they're on, fentanyl or whatever it is.
Right, but you do that as a fetish.
That's the kind of stuff you kind of get used to, and you just don't see it anymore until somebody comes to visit you, and then they're like, you live here? And you're like, oh, yeah, you get used to it. You don't get used to being mugged.
No.
That's politics.
No, but...
right, because he didn't. He's been mugged before in a big city, is what he's saying. He didn't even say when.
But...
if he said it at all. Again, I don't know why I'm taking the bait.
You like the person was a friend of Ricky's or talking about how the wallet was stolen. Like, it's an experience that you remember. I mean, it doesn't necessarily ruin your life. Like, it's an inconvenience. It's a terrible thing to go through.
Yeah, especially if you lose the hooker's number and you can't find your way back to her apartment and you think it was right, but you were so fucking gacked out of your brains on the booger sugar you bought from Brett Baer that you're like, wait a minute. Stu, is this story about you?
Kind of just work it into that city experience at some level, which is terrible. Like I have friends who used to always talk about the city and they appreciated the grit. The grit sucks.
You guys are a bunch of fucking cream puffs.
I don't want the grit. The grit is nonsense. It is this like it's a justification for what you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Oh, it's a gritty city. Yeah, getting mugged there's no charm in that. I'm sorry. You want to have a
Yeah, I agree. I think the movie True Grit should have been True Cupcakes. And it should have been a movie about how, there were no heroes made on the plains. The land was tough, and that's just what you had to do to live. It was the true man who could open up a cupcake shop.
a dive bar that you like attending. That's grit, I suppose. Go.
Well, you can't have a dive bar. Well, what the fuck am I talking about? Like, unless it's an actual dive. But these are the people who think Cracker Barrel is an actual hometown store. An old town store.
To a place where you're getting, things stolen from you, or you get beaten, or you get some weird fluid thrown at you, and you don't know what it was.
Wait, sorry. Are we talking about the lockers at the Blaze again, or?
It's like, that's the type of stuff that happens in these cities all the time.
Really? Who are you? What did you have a dream you were Clarice Starling? I cut my hand. Look at the blood.
I know.
Yes, apparently Stu was mugged by multiple MIGs.
No. It's awful.
I know. And that is the kind of stuff, I just moved my daughter in. I'm not going to say the town, but I just moved my daughter into a town.
Okay, we'll just take that for granted.
It's a college town.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it.
And it's this really nice, quaint, seemingly crime-free. I mean, it has other problems, but I walked down the street.
Besides you?
My wife, we were going to pick something up at a restaurant and bring it back to the apartment as we were all, unboxing. And I'm walking down the street and I said, this is what my childhood was like. This feels like when I was, late 1970s. As I'm coming of age, this is the way the country kind of felt. It was generally safe in areas where I...
Oh yeah. You mean when the Night Stalker was running around and Ed Kemper was cutting off college co-ed heads and burying them, and Ted Bundy was making his cascade across the country, and right.
Grew up. It was generally...
During the Carter administration.
Safe. It was clean. People respected one another, generally speaking.
Generally. You gathered this from being there all afternoon, did you?
And I know that, New York City was a hellhole at the same time that I was...
Yeah, it was far worse.
Experiencing that in the West Coast. But you don't see that very often anymore. And you forget until you go to one of these small towns and you're like, is
this a city? No, it's got a lot fewer people and very few roads. Oh, okay. So where are all your... well, fuck homeless people. Where are all your people? This is oh, okay. We have a population of about 11,000, including the larger county. You got to drive through mountains to get here. It's not a lot of... it seems pretty safe. Yeah, nobody can escape.
Are they piping in the sounds of birds and stuff? Because it's like perfect here. No, it's just a small town, that hasn't gone to hell. And you forget about it. You really...
Give it time then, I guess. Most small towns go to hell. Is that the idea?
Get on how great that can be.
And you think about
What the fuck? All right. Like this weird reminiscing about the late 70s when crime was non-existent and small town life was so much simpler then, and hitchhikers were disappearing by the dozen. All right. This I have to figure out. Okay, let's move on. I have to say, I have to check something on Discord. Hold on, let me check the Discord in this situation. A few hours ago, many hours in New York Times, Trump ordered SEALs into disaster. Oh yeah, I saw this. Let's see. Please cover Trump sending SEAL Team 6 to North Korea. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is in 2017. Yeah, let me show you this real quick. During Trump's meeting with Kim Jong-un. Remember that? Where he was like, they started this whole Rocket Man, and then they wrote letters and fell in love. Trump sent the Navy SEALs in to drop off like a listening device on the fucking beach. And there was the mission carried out in early 2019 during Trump's first term. Task SEAL Team 6's Red Squadron was sneaking onto the shores of the reclusive state via mini-subs to plant an electronic device that would allow the U.S. to intercept Kim's communications. So you want to know if he was really being friendly or not. When the SEALs approached to confirm, that resulted in the U.S. killing civilians. When the SEALs approached to confirm the kills, they discovered the men were civilians who had simply been fishing for shellfish. The Times reported, realizing their mistake, members of the Red Squadron, the same unit that killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, pulled the bodies from the water so they would not be discovered by the North Korean authorities. One official familiar with the mission told the Times the SEALs even punctured the fishermen's lungs to ensure the corpses would sink. It is a clandestine op. Yeah. North Korea never publicly acknowledged the deaths, and the U.S. officially remained unsure the regime had ever learned what had happened 6 years ago. They report several factors may have contributed to the deadly mistake. Communications were blocked as the SEALs approached the shoreline, meaning they had no way of detecting people nearby until arrival. They couldn't use overhead drones, as usual, to scan the area. Instead, they relied on satellites and high-altitude spy planes to send images, but those could not be relayed in time. The blackout also prevented the SEALs on the ground from contacting the mission commander, who remained aboard a larger submarine miles away. The SEALs' night vision goggles were also designed to detect heat, meaning that they wouldn't have spotted the fishermen, as their wetsuits worn through their shellfish dive had been chilled by the icy water. According to that, the SEALs entered the no communication zone. Trump had to personally give the final go-ahead for the mission. So he gave them the go-ahead to plant this listening device. They never got to do it, and they killed civilians in the process. But don't worry about it. I want you guys to not worry that the Trump administration, he's learned from his mistakes. It was so young back then. And they have vote 11. Yeah. They know that next time that won't happen again. They're not going to. Oh shit. U.S. strike on Venezuelan drug boat. What do we know, and was it legal? No. I mean, they renamed, they reclassified all the cartels as terrorist organizations so that they could use the authorized use of military force to kill all the, any drug dealers or anybody they came across, treat them like enemy combatants so they can kill anybody. Yep. Yes, there is no evidence. The Venezuelan boat, all we have is the aerial shot of it blowing up. Nothing about what was in it, who was in it, what they were doing, or why we had any reason whatsoever to attack it. Which, by the way, I don't know if this is it. I was picking different thing. Is this... Oh, shit. Okay, so this is just to give you an example of where the conversation... Nick Fuentes is a white nationalist. He is a virgin. He's not taken, ladies. He's saving himself for marriage. I presume he means heterosexual virginity, for reasons we can discuss at length, at other times, which is fine. Both, regardless of the reason, people's sexuality, if you're an adult, is your business. If you're consensual, if the women around you have consented not to have you touch them, then I feel like that's your right. Don't go anywhere near him. So, but I don't know if this is the one of him. This will be indicative of the way that he's turned and how much weight he has in the conversation about Trump right now.
Achieve nothing else. I want radical right-wingers, I want white people, I want Christian nationalists to stop using the word we when you talk about Trump, when you talk about the GOP. We have this tendency to identify with the Republican Party.
Isn't it? I gotta say, doesn't he sound like Blexit? It's almost as if I'm, you get Russian talking points and they tell you what side to go against, and the Brexit leaders were getting all this kind of like funding and push from the Russians to get blacks to leave the Democratic Party, right? And this is the language they used was very similar. Just saying.
Once again, Nick is back with another fiery, charismatic, and accurate rant against Trump and the GOP. This time, taking aim at the administration and clarifying.
This is not we need to do this. We. There is no we. It is not we. We are not getting shit. They are getting paid.
Yeah, we know. That's what we were telling you assholes the whole time. But please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt your waking up from your nap.
They are getting paid to promote the GOP. They, the politicians, are getting the privileges of being in office. They are getting favors dispensed and kickbacks. They won. You, we, I did not get anything, did not get shit.
Yeah. We know. We were trying to tell you guys, but I mean, it's a little too much to ask you to vote for the lady of color. I get it.
Unemployment is way higher. The job market sucks than they're letting on. And whereas the Biden administration was trying to forgive student loans and wipe medical debt from your credit score, things that actually help you, this administration's not doing any of that.
Holy shit. First Marjorie Taylor Greene shows up at the Epstein rally. Now Nick Fuentes is saying they almost forgave my loans and Trump's not doing any of it. Holy shit, right? I love that progressive commercial. Okay. Love to see Nick Fuentes order a wiener circle at 3. Yeah. A wiener schnitzel. Is Nick woke? Yes, this is woke MAGA, I think is what they're calling the affliction that apparently is hitting him. But the reality is again, this is just them waking up to the reality that Trump is full of shit and he's been lying the whole time. And of course, this has always been about crony control of power structures, because it always was. But the news of this isn't that, oh my God, they're suddenly waking up to this idea. The news of this is that it was so successful for so long, bullshitting these fuckers, and they're only waking up when Trump can't run again.
Not doing any of that. They extended the corporate tax cut. It's like, so we don't get anything when they win. The Democrats and the Republicans are they. They, the Democrats, they, the Republicans.
Well, yeah, you're not a Democrat, so I expect you to call us they. But you don't clamor for the fucking, the tax breaks for working people and for and a break on your student loans if you're going to bitch about both sides do it. No. You ignored all the good stuff Democrats were doing because it served you politically, and you ignored how badly you were getting fucked in the skull by Donald Trump until it was too late.
Take turns in office. Obviously, yes, the Republicans have better policies than the Democrats, but not by much.
Obviously, the only policies you've actually brought up were Democratic policies that you actually liked.
And it's a lot closer than you might think.
So what are we getting? Pro-Indian messaging. Exposed last night by Nick Sortor, there is a deep network of MAGA-affiliated accounts on X being paid to promote pro-Indian messaging.
Wow. This is from Atlas Thugged, an allegedly black channel. Now, again, could be fake because that, this is all part of the thing. But that's what they're pushing, is the idea that there are there's like an Indian PR movement,
of which are pretty large, Defiant L's, Matt Wallace, and Community Notes and Violations being just a few of many. These are the same accounts that say we need to vote for X, we need to support Trump, you get the point. But let's continue.
And this Epstein thing is just the biggest example. They promised you, and they think about like the culture they created around this for 5 years. The way they hammed up.
No. Stop. I mean, I understand when you want to separate yourself. I understand the they part of it or whatever. They didn't cultivate this. You actively participated in that cultivation. You looked the other way. When Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein's fucking wingman, was running for office on the premise that he's going to release the files, when he didn't last time either, and the guy fucking died in jail while he was president, and when the FBI went to his houses, they had warrants to look, bust open the locks, but not get the shit and take it with them. Not to take the evidence, just to photograph the evidence. That's what you got from Trump last time. It's not that this is where the distancing, the not we, they. No, you guys all worked together in your dipshittery to support Epstein's wingman and get him reelected. Breathlessly.
Epstein thing.
You brought Kanye West to fucking brunch with Trump.
Epstein, a pedophile island, et cetera, et cetera. And then when it's finally time to produce, they turn and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you care about that? You're an idiot. Whoa, you're a Democrat.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
And it's like, wow. It's like they literally.
No, it's like you literally. This, I gotta say, like this fucking stiff-arming the reality as if they weren't active pushers of Donald Trump. Like he totally lied to us. Like we could all see that he was fucking lying.
It's like those TikToks. It's like a prank where you go through the drive-thru and they duck down and they come up and it's a completely different person.
Yeah, it's exactly like that, except a pedophile network.
5 years. We could not hear the end of the Epstein files. The second they get into office and people want them, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, you care about that? Oh, get real. That's not actually affecting anybody. You care, that's a hoax. That was never real. If you still care about that, you should just switch parties already, because that's not loyal. That's hostile.
And we're all...
So, anyways, you guys get the point. That sometimes we, you know, when we were looking at like Vinny and others, or Vinny on Peanut Butter Dickhead. Thank you, CSL. You know, Vinny on Peanut Butter Dickhead. You lose sight of the fact that this is happening all across the MAGA sphere. Okay, before I know I'm over time, but can I show you one thing for it? Because all right, you guys always know that one of my favorite things is to be told what my plan is and what I'm thinking. I love it when a host comes in and goes, the Democrats, the people online supporting the Democrats, or their plan, their plot, their idea, what they're going to, them are going to do. I know how to actually, decipher it for you. This is the plan. Glenn Beck does this a lot. And here's little Benny Shapiro, who, curiously enough, I would argue, just saying as an Orthodox Jew, maybe trim the center part of your mustache so it doesn't look like Hitler if you squint. It's just a bad look in general. But this is Ben. It will never die. Democrats unleash new brand of woke.
Democrats are embracing a brand new form of wokeism. The old woke is dying, but something new and ugly is taking its place. We'll explain. Plus,
yes, be afraid, be very afraid. Remember that thing that didn't really do shit to you and was just really about people's lives and financial well-being that had been disenfranchised over maybe decades, if not millennia, and we're trying to right the rights and make everybody equal in this country where in the Constitution it says everybody's equal. I'd like to say, that you remember how scary that was and how that helped us scare you into voting this one way? Well, that may have died, obviously, a whiny death and vanished, but there's a worse one. There's another one coming. Also, there are other caravans.
Zohar Mamdani now wants to debate Donald Trump and a shocking Daily Wire report, like a truly shocking report. First, the Daily Wire is...
Why, they get the spelling and grammar right, or...
innovating, constantly growing, because the battle for the culture requires new voices and new ideas. We've told you about the importance of reaching the next generation, and now we're putting our money where our mouth is. On Monday, Isabel Brown makes her debut on Daily Wire Plus with the Isabel Brown Show. We've been talking.
So very excited. I don't give a shit, and nor do I care. You bought. Okay, cool. You're buying up young influencers. Yes. Wait, nothing says authentic like the Isabel Brown show.
This is exactly what we mean when we say the Daily Wire is expanding to cover every front of the culture war.
You're killing me. Get to woke.0.
We suffered through legitimately a decade of wokeness. Wokeness being the proposition that any disparity between groups was evidence of discrimination, and this manifested as DEI.
No. That was what you guys took from, quote, the concept of woke. A lot of it was just awareness of people's racial or gender-based struggles, and keeping that in mind when you're dealing with someone who's on the downslope in society currently, that even the stuff that is their fault might have a twinge of habitual problems that come from being a woman, being gay, being straight, and poor, being black, whatever. That kind of thing. It doesn't matter. Everybody carried that weight with them, and you didn't have to double down on that part of it to deal with whatever the problem they were dealing with was. Okay.
It is the idea that the government had to constantly rig the system in the reverse direction. It was the Ibram X. Kendi ideology, the Robin DiAngelo ideology, that, again, if any group was performing less well than another group, that had to be a result of a discriminatory system.
No, except whites, right? That was the point. Was that it didn't apply to white people. If white trash were shit out of luck, the Appalachians and that kind of shit. If you were just grew up white and poor in a part of the country where being toothless and fucking your sister and all that kind of stuff was kind of a habitual joke about where you were, the chances of you getting into Harvard was fucking zero. So it did apply to some whites as well, but you guys ignored that part of it. Because that part didn't bother you, because one of the things about Ben Shapiro and his ilk and a lot of maggots is that they are completely comfortable brooming poor white trash out of their conversation and letting Trump seize upon the fact that these are the forgotten men and women, but they're forgotten for a good reason. It's also why they slow walked their fentanyl response for a long time, because quite frankly, you can't save everybody. And, some people just gotta let nature take its course. It's God's will that they died of an overdose.
And it feels as though, on a racial level, we passed peak woke. That simply saying now systemic racism is not going to result in some sort of left-wing policy. And that if you go up against...
And it didn't.
...that, you're going to be able to retain your career. You're not going to be fired.
Yeah, you weren't going to be fired just by going against that at all. Being a bigot or something and being caught being a bigot, that would be a problem at work.
There's peak woke with regard to transgender ideology, the idea being that if you are a man who identified as a woman, you are part of a discrete and insular minority, and that the problems you were having in your life were the faults of the systems around you, and therefore the systems had to be torn down.
Okay, I know a lot of you are like, that's not what that means. That's not what people were talking about. They're really talking about like equal rights and protections for trans people, but that's what they want their viewers to believe. So you're hearing a dipshit translation of wokeness to his audience and them going, yeah, that's what they wanted. They wanted the transgender for everybody. That's what Trump always says, even though Trump got transgender for everyone from transhumanism.
Of justice. And anybody who argued with you had to be destroyed, had to be censored, had to be taken off the air, had to be punished. And it feels like we're past that as well. So where does the left go next?
It's almost like none of it ever happened. Anybody who got broomed for good reason, including people that you guys broomed on your side.
Where does the left go next? Well, the answer is they're going back to something kind of old. And what they are going back to is what could theoretically be titled economic wokeness. Economic wokeness mirrors exactly the same argument as racial wokeness or trans wokeness, except it applies to economic categories. And when I say this is sort of an old argument, it is, because it's basically the argument that was made by Karl.
Oh my God. Just like, yeah, Marxism in class and okay. None of this changed. This is a section of people that talk about this stuff ad nauseum. They love to have arguments about capitalism versus communism and socialism, like they're talking about whether if Superman punched the Hulk would get madder and therefore stronger. And at some point, if Superman punched him enough, the Hulk would be stronger than Superman. Plus, if he's green, does that mean he's part kryptonite anyways?
And it seems as though Democrats are more and more moving in that direction.
No, they're not. No, we're not. What are you talking about?
Bring this up because Politico has a fascinating piece today by Elena Schneider.
I see. Politico. All right. So you're done shitting on standard. All right.
Democratic research finds voters prefer populism over abundance. What do they mean by that? Well, there are basically two wings of the Democratic Party right now that are sort of battling it out for ideological supremacy. One could be titled the abundance wing. The abundance wing is led by people like Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson, who wrote the book Abundance. The basic idea is that Democrats should be better technocrats. They should stop attempting to destroy capitalism, and instead, they should go for better regulations. That if you want more housing, what you might want to do is actually deregulate the housing market in certain areas. Now, of course, Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson.
Oh my God, this is going to get tiresome. Just get to it. What's the big woke boogeyman?
Are very strong Democrats, and they want more government involvement in a wide variety of areas. But their basic idea is that in order for them to achieve their goals, presumably of reducing income inequality or achieving greater fairness and...
Fuck, people watch this? This show... I mean, he's got 7 million subscribers and only 81,000 views. That's a huge fucking drop-off. So I guess not.
That you actually do have to follow some sort of effective policies that make people richer, that make the society richer. Now, it's kind of an uphill battle in the Democratic Party, obviously, because a lot of the policies that the government involves itself in are actually quite bad policies. But that is one side of the Democratic Party. As Politico describes it, the abundance agenda is, again, basically this.
God damn, I can't do it. I can't. Like, I was so hoping that we'd get a big boogeyman and I would be all afraid and I would know I would have to scare. I'd have to be scared that this big woke boogeyman was going to come and destroy me, right? And tear away our liberties and shit like that. And he's going to talk about economic populism because that's what Trump fucking ran on. It's the same stupid shit. I don't want to end on a dud. That bothers me. That's so fucking lame. All right, hold on 1 second. One last thing then. God damn it. I should have saved the Breuer thing for the end. Oh, well, here you go. Let's see if I can open this. You know what? I will, actually. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Whoops. Here you go. Like a new tab. There we go. I'll end with this one because this is a good. We'll bookend the show with Breuer, but this is indicative of how it works. Jim Breuer live. They control you. Daily breaking news. Okay, and then it says you're being brainwashed and nobody's talking about it. First of all, has any how many 1984 references are we going to hear in this kind of shit? Everybody's talking about news brainwashing. Fucking the right wing can't stop about the news and schools and the liberal media brainwashing everybody. That apparently nobody but them can think for them fucking selves. Let's see. Okay, the news controls us more than we know.
You need to listen to me. I'm going to...
No, I don't think anybody does. I mean, even I would argue that that's how the news does it. Isn't... If someone's telling you you need to listen to me, that sounds like media manipulation.
Do something here. The first thing you got to do
is raise your camera to match your where you are in terms of height.
Is detach your emotions right now.
Believe me, they're detached. I have zero commitment to this.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
You're not a liberal.
What? Oh no. Where's my MAGA hat? Maybe Nick Fuentes was right and wrong.
You're not a conservative. You're not Republican. And you're not a Democrat. You're just a human being.
That's all you are. You can't categorize yourself based on generalities. That's why Jim's going to tell you you're not white and man and woman are just labels. And so trans people can be whatever they want. You're being told by the media that the words have more meaning than your humanity. No, that's not where he's going with this. I've been tricked into thinking I'm a liberal by the media.
Watching something. I don't want you to focus on the news channel.
If I was focused on news at all, I wouldn't be watching this.
And I don't want you to focus on what's being said.
Okay. That's easy. Hold on one second. Let's see. Skip for now. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to do this one. Okay. Go ahead.
Dum, 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 dum.
Mm-hmm.
Dum, dum, stupid.
He said don't focus
silly, stupid,
on what's being said.
Dumb.
Don't focus on the words.
Dumb, dumb, stupid. Dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb. Dopey, dippy, dumb, dumb. Stupid, really dumb. Moron!
Okay.
Dumb, dumb, stupid. Dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb. Dopey, dippy, dumb, dumb. Stupid, really dumb.
Moron!
All right. Is that enough? Did we ignore enough of the words? Hold on. What was he saying?
To control you.
Okay. All right. Nope. I was right. There we go. Back to where we were.
Dumb, dumb, stupid.
All right.
Dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb. Dopey, dippy, dumb, dumb. Stupid, really dumb.
Your
moron!
Emotions. It controls your decisions, and it gets your
The other camera's not on.
ass and your mind and your
Hold on. Run that by me again. I was fucking around. I didn't hear the part where the news controls my ass.
emotions. It controls your decisions, and it gets your ass and your mind and your brain to just absorb and obsess.
Sorry. Oh, right. I'm sorry. I forgot. His ass is where his brain is. That it makes sense. Okay. I was overlaying my own thoughts onto this.
Yes.
What? Don't fucking shove that mic at me, boy.
This. You guys don't even know what I'm about to show you.
Yeah, probably. Let me guess. A TikTok or an article out of context, or something you saw on your phone as a bored rich dude with too much time on his hands and an entourage that only hangs around because you pay them to.
Listen, not to what she's saying, but listen.
No, yeah, don't hear the words. Just look at her face.
To how they interrupt and the words they use.
Released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election.
Doesn't matter.
On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort, not only with public statements like this, but release of documents to attempt...
Tulsi Gabbard's been pumping this shit out for days. Yeah, they've heard it before. It's fucking boring. That's the idea. Like, they must have stolen the election because the media is controlling you. They are stopping her mid-sentence, even though she's released entire videos online that you can watch on your own. And if it intrigues if you could argue that if they just let it play, it would bore the fuck out of people and they'd go, I don't care about this. But if they cut it off, there's a chance that you might Streisand affect your way to finding longer videos of her talking online about the same stupid shit.
Up the quite extreme allegation.
In the attempt to give these extreme allegations, how do you not understand
why what she's saying is wrong and boring? I guess too many details. I got too many. It's an overabundance of facts, isn't it? Kind of eats into this.
That is dipping in your mind and telling you what to think.
No, I think they're reacting to it. Like, again, multi-days. She's been doing this for a while. They didn't interrupt her the first time she said it in many ways, and nobody censored the videos that she released on her own channel about this shit. Like, it's there.
Before you even have a moment to digest the situation. That is no different than I walk in and go, this person is attempting to give these outrageous allegations.
Yeah, it is, because you're not a trusted news source and that person wasn't saying anything. And it would almost make it more likely that if you did that the person would go, I think they were making a good point. I want to see the rest of it.
If you can't stand this person or you can't stand the other news, you're already all in. If I'm a liberal, I'm like, yeah, it's crazy allegations. It's just insane. That is called brainwashing. And if you're...
Yeah, but why isn't it brainwashing if you think there's legitimacy to them? I mean, we went through all this shit. There was like 60 lawsuits. They didn't switch their opinion about the Russians interfering at all. They didn't have enough proof, and there certainly wasn't any evidence that they flipped votes in machines, but there was clearly a Russian push to manipulate the electorate through social media and fake news stories and all kinds of stuff like that, and that was worth our attention, so that's what they were writing about. That's why this will go nowhere. That's why the news is like, this shit again.
Falling for it, you're being brainwashed. Listen to the words they use to manipulate your thoughts.
Yeah, but isn't she manipulating your thoughts as well? She's the head of the DNI. She's the director of national intelligence. Sorry, so if a news person interrupts the head of the CIA and says, okay, they've been going on for a couple of days about this particular topic. We've seen it before. They're trying to shut down the CIA, and they're not allowing the CIA to give the true message to the people.
Conspiracy!
Conspiracy. There's a whole word, spiracy. Nobody's being accused of spiracy. Spiracy!
Dum, 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 dum.
Now he's going to think I'm manipulating you by choosing this freeze frame like an asshole and not just stopping it in the moment after he said spiracy. Maybe people would take your opinion more seriously if you pronounced entire words.
Assessment by the intelligence community at the time that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. Multiple intelligence.
Listen again to the words they use. Are you ready?
Yes. Okay. So somebody clipped this and put it on Twitter or TikTok or some shit like that, and he's playing this slice of it, and it's indicative of the entire media. So you are being brainwashed. The title of this: you're being brainwashed, and nobody's talking about it. Because they're on a panel show and they played part of it, and then they go back to the panel. And the panel members, some of them maybe are more tepid about their response, and some of them are like, this is just horse shit. And that's media manipulation, according to him.
This is mind control.
And little bags of money and your little whiteboard and doing this out of your fucking basement isn't. Again, which part of this is more controlling than the other?
Right now, someone's going, you need to interrupt the program. They're not reporters. CNN is not reporters. None of these nude networks are reporting.
They're nude networks? Why am I not I remember the nude news. That was on for a while, but I was always very disappointed because there was like part stripteases during it. And I was like, I'm not really learning any good information here. And this is taking far too long.
They're telling you what to think. They interrupt and listen to the words. And mark my words.
Sorry. The dude over there with the laptop can't put that on screen so the rest of us can see what that is? Or are you just supposed to point at your fucking phone to a clip from God knows where and what network and whatever? Like, you're not going to lead it in. You're not going to explain where it came from. Like, I explained what the fuck this business is. That basically this is like Roseanne under a weird Snapchat filter, and that you've been doing this show, like I at least give some context at all.
Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort, not only with public statements like this, but release of documents, to attempt to back up the quite extreme allegation that President Obama is guilty of treason and that he worked in some sort of conspiracy with Hillary Clinton, etc., in the assessment by the intelligence.
I think that's a pretty apt description of exactly what happened. She's attempting to back up what's being said. Okay.
Community at the time that Russia interfered in the 2016.
I think that's pretty much all you need, right? I don't know. I think I'm working way too hard. Why am I stopping these things and rebutting all the details like we've gone through with Tulsi's actual videos, not second gen shit from, her on CNN or Fox or wherever the fuck it is. Why am I bothering to break this shit down? Why am I showing articles to directly contradict stuff when Trump says it, or going through this when all I have to do is whatever the fuck that is?
Multiple intelligence
and my bros will laugh.
If you can't see what that just did, now if you label yourself as a liberal, if you label yourself as a lefty or a Democrat or whatever, you immediately just made up your mind because they told you what to think.
No, in theory, if I'm that way, I already had that opinion of Tulsi Gabbard before because she used to be a Democrat. She joined the right wing. She basically circumvented all of her morals and undermined every like moral advantage that she had by joining this pussy grabbing fuck. And now as the head of the ODNI or head of the DNI, I automatically have disdain for what she's saying because it's the intelligence community. I'm not going to take it at face value. I don't have instant disdain for it, but I'm not going to just take the head of the CIA at his word either. Yellow cake, anyone?
They told you what to think.
She's the director of national intelligence. They rebutted what she said. You have the ability to judge by what she's saying, the details of it, and the details that the news people say on which one you agree with. Do you ever watch a show you don't agree with and just by the end of it you're fucking hypnotized?
If it wasn't Tulsi Gabbard,
by the way, yes, he does.
They're talking about Obama. They're talking about cheese. If CNN came out and they said, we just found out that this cheese years ago had we found all the receipts, we found all the proof to prove that this cheese tried to prove it was a hot dog. And then all of a sudden the news feed.
We have the receipts that this cheese tried to prove that it was a hot dog. I don't know. It depends. I would probably, depends on whether I wanted a hot dog or cheese, I suppose, in this imaginary childish fantasy that you're throwing together. They don't have all the receipts. They don't have proof that this cheese tried to make itself a hot dog. So even your really odd food analogy falls apart.
We interrupt this program because, they're continuing to make these allegations that are just a conspiracy that are outrageous.
Oh, he forgot which one. He forgot whether it was really a hot dog or really cheese. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, he forgot. So he couldn't get back to how dare this cheese try to impersonate a hot dog. And he couldn't find his way back to it. So just say the words they said with while casting aspersions verbally on the words that they used, and then immediately the people that are watching will fall in line going, you're right, that's outrageous, which is brainwashing, I think, according to him.
Watch how many people tomorrow are going to go, did you hear about these outrageous conspiracies? All the cockatoos are going to, because that's all you are. You think you're informed. You're just a cockatoo watching the news.
stupid. Dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb. Dopey, dippy, dumb, dumb. Stupid, really dumb. Moron!
This is rough. I mean, again...
Conspiracy! Conspiracy! Outrageous! Outrageous! Conspiracy! Conspiracy! Stupid, really dumb.
Also, how about all the right-wingers calling the Epstein files a hoax? What about them? What about all the Trumpers who say Russia, 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 or Russia Gate? I guess they're immune. That's just the truth, right? Sorry, that was my bad. So everybody who goes, yeah, this is an unfounded conspiracy and it will never see the inside of a courtroom because it's fucking ridiculous, and it won't and it doesn't. And there'll be no, like, apology or putting the toothpaste back in the tube from this dickhead next year if Obama isn't fucking perp walked, right? Because they can't, won't, and don't have the evidence to actually even, like, make the case that they switched the details or they had this meeting to change the narrative and frame Trump for his relationship with Vladimir Putin, which is ongoing, for the record. What kind of an asshole gives the leader of a country that we have no material interest in? This isn't even, like, you can go with, like, Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, and we've been protecting them for a long time, and, we and, post-World War II had a part in the creation of the area or some shit like that, or even kind of dealing with the fact that so many of our goods are supplied by China. You got to tiptoe around Xi Jinping, right? Why in the fuck would anybody give Vladimir Putin a pass for sending rape squads into Bucha? I guess the same reason they pretend not to know Jeffrey Epstein after he died on their watch, even though they said in an article he likes them young.
That's how brainwashing is.
Yeah, you're explaining how you are the way you are and what you're saying. You can't even articulate what the material points of this are. You just mock people and go, and that's enough. That's the argument. Which, by the way, is tempting, and we use it all the time with Trump, to use shame as a weapon. This is less embarrassment. Most people wouldn't be embarrassed by him making fun of them, but he's trying to shame people by saying you're a cockatoo by doing this. This is shame manipulation. In media, it happens all the fucking time. You could argue that Fox News does it with patriotism all the time. You're not a patriot if you don't, support MAGA or you don't support Trump or whatever. That's how they manipulate you. This is the same thing, only dumber.
Dumb.
Right. Whoops. Why is this playing?
People go, we're more intelligent. No, you're not.
Is that what they do? We're more intelligent.
No, you're not. Because you're emotionally involved. I'm not emotionally involved, and I can see how ridiculous that is. I can care.
I got to tell you, it seems like you're emotionally involved.
That's what the subject matter is.
I don't know that that's good, though. Shouldn't you care about the subject matter, especially if it's something serious? Jesus Christ, if the former president is guilty of treason, and you think he was, you just kind of half-assed about that? You just chaboudois and move on?
I'm more concerned that
For us. He's concerned for you and me.
Old trusted news channel is telling you already how to take the situation, how to think about it.
Aren't you doing that about, like, all regular media sources? Again, this is stoner Alex Jones.
It's not their job. It never was their job. And the minute you realize that news is not here to feed your soul in a good way, in a human...
Yeah, news isn't there. I don't look to feed my soul with news. It's either information or it isn't.
Way, they're just here to create negative, hateful, and control your thoughts and your emotions. You're going to be able to deprogram.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to deprogram pogrom? Is that what you're looking for? Is it like an Amish village, something? No.
From
I'm
the
going to depogrom myself, sure.
higher system. And it gets easier and easier when you detach your emotions.
You're not detaching your emotions, and you're getting all your news from fucking Twitter. You're completely fucking bent over and screaming about videos that are out of context, 30-second clips, because the person you don't like is doing something, and you can read into it whatever you want. Maybe this is just confessions. Maybe I'm missing the point of this show, is that he's recording these for his future self when he wakes up.
Oh, that stuff drives me nuts. That stuff makes me nuts.
I thought you were emotionally not involved. I thought you were detached. I mean, you obviously, I don't know if you guys can see it. He wrote, it's a little bright. He wrote brainwash on the board.
It makes me more nuts that people don't see that.
Yeah. God. I'm not emotionally involved, but what the fuck?
How do you not see that?
You mean, how do you not see that Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein? That he lost the election fair and square and sent his fucking minions to attack the Capitol? And that there weren't FBI agents, maggot whispering and making them run up the stairs and attack, which is just fucking stupid. And if it were true, that would mean that they shouldn't be anywhere near the halls of power because they're dopey and easily hypnotized. You want to talk about brainwashing?
They just purposely jump in and, hold on a minute. Here they go again with their outrageous.
He's never going to end up on Greg Gutfeld's show acting like this.
First of all, let me explain something again about any news channel, and this includes Fox.
Oh, how dare you.
Sorry.
And Newsmax and OAN and Right Side and Lindell TV. Can't forget about them.
I know some of you don't want.
Are they still around? Holy shit. I literally just realized they've got to still have programming besides the Diamond and Silk minus Diamond show, right?
Hear that. It's all propaganda.
What's your show? Moneybags, Brainwash, News, Mike, Prop, the plants you put in the background to liven up the set so it's not too barren.
Watching television. Stop watching tell.
Oh dear.
A vision.
Oh, I take it back. I was wrong. He's not the stoner Roseanne. He's just slightly post motorcycle accident Gary Busey. That's what this is. If Gary Busey had a podcast, that's what this would be. Okay, all right.
Is that easier for you? How many of you trust everything you see on the television?
No one?
I know I have. I still have family members. If they don't see it on the TV, it doesn't exist.
Oh my God. Perhaps get them some help. They don't think that news anchor people don't have legs, do they? Or buy into the whole thing where they don't wear pants?
Where'd you get that? From the internet? Yeah. I got
Of course.
From the place where, and the internet can be dangerous.
Yeah, but news is dangerous.
But not as dangerous as networks.
Why?
Networks. They throw the net. Casting their net.
To try and get some work while they're working it.
To grab you.
And make you work.
For their nightly programs. Tonight's program. As we tell a vision.
Right, yeah, but I mean, you don't have to listen, right? You don't have to believe. I mean, I know your relatives do, sure. But you don't. I'm beginning to think he's like a character in Galaxy Quest. Like, surely you don't think Gilligan's Island is real? Those poor people.
Unto you. Think of how much of your life you trust that a TV or someone on a TV will tell you.
Over what? A book? A friend? Your real relationships and friendships? Like, who the fuck are these people that you think watch and just go, yep, everything, yep. I don't care what channel it's on, yep. Okay, his friend circle, sure.
I always like sitting with, I had family members.
Yeah, you always have family members. Yeah, you got family members and you have friends who are always the most gullible assholes in the world. And apparently, when they question what you're talking about, you pull a face and tell them that they're brainwashed.
And if you don't think for one instance, whoever runs television,
big TV,
single network, please don't be foolish enough to think that they don't know what they're doing.
Well, you mean as far as their capability of running a network? I mean, I think we all have differences of opinion about programming. I know that some shows used to be moved from Tuesday night to Thursday night, and I found that fucked up my whole schedule because I didn't really, I only want to watch one night of TV. The rest of the week I got shit to do, and then they move it, and you're like, okay, shovel that shit around.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Making television?
They know exactly what they're doing.
Selling advertising space to keep Knight Rider on the air?
We need to get human again.
I thought we were supposed to detach emotionally.
Do. I'd like one.
Emotionally, I can speak.
Hey, where there's no such thing as any political party. Wouldn't that be fun one day?
Yes, thank you. Break into Imagine by John Lennon. That'll make it all better.
Like when you're in your home and your family is...
I'm not in my family. That's gross. You do you, boo. I'm not here to yuck your yum, but...
When you have your aunts and your uncles and your cousins and everyone's together, is there a political party?
Only if we're playing Risk.
Is there a left group or a right group? Is there...
Sometimes, yeah. There's usually one, like... And I'm just talking out of my ass here, but one asshole member of the family who turns everything political and can't just have a good time and is just kind of blathering in the corner and staring at their phone and yelling out loud, watching videos on fucking TikTok like an asshole. But that's not the whole family. That's just that one fucking guy.
Remember that time when you're hanging out with your friends and you barbecue and all that? Are you voting?
No, we don't. I never vote and barbecue at the same time. My ballot kept catching fire.
Smartest person is? Are you voting on who the wisest person is?
Well, I mean, I think if your friends are fucking with each other, you're trying to figure out who's the funniest. And is that what you mean? I guess there's no ballot involved. Sure.
We used to listen to older people.
Not old people, older.
System has trained us to push them aside.
I don't know. I think, is Tulsi Gabbard older than you? I think she is. I think certainly the news anchors you were talking about are older than you. Why are you disrespecting your elders?
They're getting old. They're getting yucky. Just, put them somewhere.
Now you're sounding like Melania.
What a disturbing way to treat humanity.
Yeah, I know. That's why Democrats created Social Security and why we believe in supporting people and, why insurance should cover, hospice care and old folks' homes and that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's why we give a shit about the stuff we give a shit about, because that would not be good. Also, by the way, who would want to destroy Social Security, for example, like Mike Lee? Or why aren't you going after that motherfucker? He wants to get rid of it so old people can just be pushed aside.
They're the ones that have all the knowledge. They're the ones that had all experience.
Right. So why am I listening to you? Piss off. He's hot for Tulsi. Is that what you guys think? Old people are easier to push over? It depends on the old people. Sometimes you got to fuck with the wrong one. I had our Sun Tzu grandmaster was in his mid to late 60s. And he was a Golden Gloves boxer when he was a young man. He was a hairdresser for a living, but that guy could fuck you up. His he looked kind of soft and like kind of little easygoing or whatever, but if he got his paws on you, man, his fucking muscles felt like mahogany. Yeah, you just try it, sonny. So, anyways, that Breuer has 417,000 subscribers. That video is from a month ago, and it has 124,000 views. 124,000 views for that shit. He did a video called "How God Works," about how he. Well, the quote is, "I challenged the devil."
Some he may not know.
Hold on. There you go. He does this video about how he had this great idea and somebody stole it. I've never heard of anything like that in Hollywood. It's not like every loser asshole in an extension course during the Q&A part goes, "I had the idea for Jurassic Park and it got stolen. What should I do?" I challenged the devil and lost everything. Funny How God Works, episode 1. He didn't challenge the devil. The devil has not played a part in his life at all. Bad choices, ill-gotten friendships, being a dismissive bullshitter, that's the devil. That's the devil this asshole has to deal with in his life. He has to exorcise that devil. Because god damn. Don't promote him. He's got more subscribers than I do. So anyways, I went long, I know, but I wanted to cover that point. But that's that, and which is, by the way, ultimately, what was his message in that one? Don't be a political party. Don't fall in line. You're being brainwashed to believe you're one thing or another. All of them have started doing that, that there's no difference between the parties and all that. You hear that from a lot of Republicans right now. Why? Because of the Epstein files. Why? Because Trump sent ships down to Venezuela and he's not the peace president. Why? Because he didn't end the fucking war with one phone call. Why? Because his tariffs aren't working and inflation has not come down and it's going back up. And why jobs are not, going up, they're going down. So what's their fallback? Can they go, for all of his faults, Nick Fuentes is at least going to, we were lied to, and we knew you were being lied to. Everybody did. You just took it, whatever. But at least he's recognizing that is a Trump thing. But Breuer can't come out against Trump ever. Put all the Jesus stuff aside and the God stuff aside and the devil stuff aside. He can never go against Trump. So his only fallback is, what really are political parties? If you fucked up and you backed the wrong pony, one of the most cowardly retreats in politics is they're all the same. It would have been the same no matter who got elected. There's a group running the world and they're not letting us get what we want. It's not that Trump's a fucking useless asshole and was Jeffrey Epstein's wingman for a quarter fucking century. And the only two friends he's ever had have been both dead pedophiles, Roy Cohn and Jeffrey Epstein. It has nothing to do with that. It's that somebody else is running this whole thing and it just doesn't go our way and it's rigged. Trump would do these things. He's sent by God to solve the human trafficking problem. He's sent by God to deliver the little children. And then when he hides the Epstein files and tells you you're a fucking loser and he doesn't want your help anymore if you want those files, it's not that, oh my God, he's full of shit. This is a lie. I was bamboozled. He doesn't really care. I put aside, maybe he was closer with Epstein than I thought, right? They can't go there. They're too fucking weak. Breuer is weak. That's his problem. Not just that he's stupid or dismissive or he uses like physically exaggerated motions to try and as placeholders for comedy in a way to distance himself from actually having to break down the issue at all. He just wants to blather the same shit Alex Jones has been saying and then go, and that's enough. Because it's really the only thing he can do. What's the other alternative? To admit out loud that he'd been had, and that he voted for Trump and he supported Trump, and he was up till now, or at least recently, an advocate for Trump. By the way, apropos of fucking nothing. Nobody came up to him, hey, Breuer, what do you think of, like, he actively sought out being a part of this. Just like Ted Nugent. You know, the shut up and sing crowd or the shut up and act crowd will, like, line up to ball gargle any celebrity that carries Trump's fucking pail for him. Right? They'll be Trump's piss boy all day long. So they can, if somebody like I do it or whatever, then obviously, we're liberal shills for the fucking Pentaverate or whatever. But ultimately, no matter what they fall back on, he can, you want to talk about brainwashing. If I found out that Biden had been on Epstein's plane 7 times, or Obama had, I'd have the same reaction as I had about Clinton. If they did anything bad, fuck them. If there's any evidence, bye. Because the ethics, the ideas, the policies and stuff that I might have liked from that person aren't predicated on that person. They're predicated on, I aligned with those ideals because I want them to help other people. Right? If Bernie Sanders had his second wife murdered or some shit like that, you wouldn't go, all right, maybe I got to rethink this whole, like, healthcare thing for everybody. Maybe that was wrong too. You're like, no, maybe he just used that as sheep's wool, as a wolf. And so none of these guys can do that, though. I don't think any of us would have that problem. Right? Yes. You earn somebody's trust, and if you dismantle it, it takes active dismantling. You have to show more than just somebody making a fucking stupid face. But Trump, they gave their trust to him outright. You watch, man. There's Vinny's probably the closest to it on Peanut Butter Dickhead's podcast, and he can't bring himself to do it. He said a couple times, like, if Trump's in there, he should go to jail. And like, you really mean that? Because he has to stick to that. But he won't let himself believe that it's actually true. One of the reasons why he feels he can say it is because he'll never have to pony up. Well, guess what, motherfucker? You're going to have to pony up. Because all of it will be made known. Not to quote Cat Williams, but all lies will be will be seen in the daylight. And this is one of those areas. They're going to have to deal with this at some point. And I got to tell you, Breuer won't. Breuer will retreat into religion. Glenn Beck did the same fucking thing. I don't know, politics. Is it really about politics anymore? It's just about Jesus and my relationship with God. Until it isn't. Tomorrow you'll be shitting all over Democrats and drawing partisan lines all over the fucking place because you're a dough-headed fuck who's been manipulated and you can't admit it even when you catch yourself because your ego is on the line. On the other hand, we don't have that problem. And I've caught hell from my own audience sometimes when I differ from the narrative, right? But we always make up because we agree on the principle. See you guys tomorrow.
The screen glows bright with a crooked smile. We're still out.
Hit that like, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Share the show and the clips, and don't forget to leave a comment. All that stuff.